national team. It gives you so much experience as a player, as a team. Like, it's just a whole org, like just managing, actually playing in the international play against actual good team. Like, it is really tough, but like depends on how you want to accept the situation. Like, sure, it was like rough series, rough game, rough, whole tournament. But I think this is the way, this is the stage that I can actually reprove a game.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at Group C, we are going to have Bilibili Gaming, T1, GAM Esports, and Movistar Koi. Definitely do have BLG as probably a very solid #1 here, but also T1's in their group. So T1 BLG is always an interesting matchup, although as you were just talking about, T1 is not necessarily at full form. Got to wait until Worlds for that probably. And then GAM Esports and Movistar Koi, I'm not sure how they're going to do in this one. It should be pretty difficult.
Yeah, I'm weirded out by Koi a little bit. Like, I think that they have the makings of a really great team for this meta, especially just because Alvaro and Elioya like link up so well, but it just didn't seem to click for them fully domestically in playoffs, and that's an issue that hopefully they've had a lot of time to come in now and fix. There's the majors as well, so I want to see how the bot lane as a whole, because Super works, because Super is such a hyper carry centric AD.
Yeah, and for Group D, HLE, Lion, JDG, and MIBR. I do think that HLE is a pretty good spot here. Well, the Lion, they looked good as well.
Yeah.
So
they almost won. Right?
I honestly, I walked away from that series feeling like Lion with a slightly better team throughout more of that series than HLE.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think that was like an unwinnable series for them at all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you see like the game by game, like it was like there was so many times that they could have played this much better. They would have won just easily, like that series. Like the game, actually, it was like so winnable. But it looked like already so packed in Group D. Lion, HLE, JDG. Like it's really packed.
It definitely is. I'm not sure what to expect from JDG rather, because in terms of the playoffs of LPL moving into MSI, it did look like it was very kind of up in the air. We didn't know exactly who was going to come through.
I think their prep and their drafts are going to be the most exciting part, because it's a Tarbay-led project, and typically those teams tend to get very creative. And Gala, even though, yes, we like to see him on the Kaisers and the Jinxes and stuff, very, very flexible guy. Always has been. So I think they're going to be very happy in this meta regardless. And I think it also opens up for the bot lane, right? In general, the support to start linking up with the jungle.
Yeah, I would say that in terms of, LPL, LCK especially, we like to pick some fun at teams like T plus Kia and even T1, who are sometimes really good, sometimes a little bit inconsistent, I would say. But it's a new tournament. It's a totally new country. It's a new situation here. And I would say that never count any of these teams out. Even if they didn't have a great performance at MSI, or even if they weren't even at MSI, they could definitely come in here and just shock a lot of people. That happens all the time. We have kind of the guys who are consistent at the top very often, who you would expect. But I would say pretty much every tournament, there's at least 1 or 2 dark horses that come in and surprise us all. So let's take a look at the schedule for today as well, because we do have a lot of the games that are going to be determining which of these teams are going to be making it into some of those later rounds. So we're going to start off with Team Secret against Sentinels, Bilibili Gaming up against Koi. We got Furia up against G2 Esports, and JDG up against Lion. What do you guys think about these matchups today?
Yeah, I'm really, waiting for the JDG against Lion. It's going to be pretty interesting, because I don't know what's going to happen. Like, Lion did show up like really great performances in MSI especially, and you did mention JDG as well. Like, it's going to be up in the air, and we'll see what's going on. Honestly,
I'm looking at Koi BLG. I think these two teams match up stylistically like almost identically.
Yeah.
And Bin had like a awkward MSI. I'll call it an awkward MSI. Where, I feel like even though for Koi, Merwin's definitely been one of the weaker points of the team, he's always a player that does come out and surprise because of the very out there champion pool that he has. So I think that's something that hopefully we get to see them lean into, especially against BLG.
Yeah, definitely going to be pretty interesting to see which of these teams are going to be performing here at EWC 2026. We are going to have the opening ceremony in just a moment on the main stage, so looking forward to that as we are going to introduce all of our teams, and they're going to come out and be in front of that big audience that we do have, so should be a lot of fun. Just waiting on that one, and I'm sure there's so many fans here in Paris that are waiting to watch their favorite teams. They're going to get to see them in the opening ceremony. There's going to be a nice little performance. Got to see some of those rehearsals, so looking forward to that. Any team you guys are expecting to have some fun at this tournament? Any specific team that you think you want to see do better than we've seen so far?
I'm European, man. G2. Like, dude,
They
losing
did
to
pretty
NA.
well.
Yeah. Look, they beat T1, but it's like it was like a not
Just
super honorable
T1.
one because, like, okay, they finally did it after so many years, but it
Yeah.
was like a T1 that didn't really feel like they were up to scratch. So it removed some of that like aura gain, and then they go on to get through by an NA team. Regardless of how
Yeah.
regardless how good you feel like Lion is, getting through to NA is just
3-0,
how it
I
is.
think, is the biggest issue.
Yeah,
Like, it
that's
didn't
the
look
stinger.
close. It didn't
Yeah.
look like G2 had a chance almost. So,
I mean, what can I say? Just NA is better. 6-0.
our NA representative here, Hooney.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we're happy that, won against EU, but the thing is, like, it's not done yet. Like, EU is, like, always, we could win against EU all the time, but we gotta win this time against LPL or LCK team as well, because we've been not winning those.
I think also coming into this EWC 2026 for League of Legends, I would say, T1 didn't have the greatest performance at MSI. They still went pretty far, but it was one of their weaker MSIs we've seen as an organization. I would say, though, when it comes to EWC, they really step it up. I feel like it's, they want to try to get that title back. They want to retain their throne over here at EWC. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing them in a better spot, after they definitely got shaken up by G2. So going to be a pretty fun tournament here at EWC 2026. Also curious about D plus Kia, because it was actually funny. They did that kind of for fun tournaments with some of the teams that were over in Korea boot camping, and they looked pretty good, but also they got kind of challenged a little bit in that one. So I don't
They're
really
getting
know.
better.
I don't know.
They're on the progress, I think.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, we saw their, performances in LCK round 1, round 2. Like, there was an awful game for them, but I think it could be easily better for them, like, especially in this tournament, I think, because it's a new environment. The atmosphere is different. There are so many, it's so crowded. I think if they get energy from the crowd, I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah. What do you think about D plus Kia?
I mean,
any thoughts about this team?
outsider, I mean, look, I think this team is fun when Showmaker is the guy driving the team.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when Showmaker's driving the team, it feels good. And I feel like when he's not driving the team, and then obviously, like, kind of providing space then for Smash and Korea to kind of just do their thing in team fights.
Yeah.
The wheels come off quickly and very hard. So that's where it's at for me with DK. I think it just has to come through mid jungle.
Yeah. I would just say, Showmaker is like this grizzled veteran, and he's trying to like corral all of his rookies around him and get everybody on the same page. But they've been a team that for a while just doesn't really stick together as a unit, and it felt like they were trying to fix that, but actually they went too far in the other direction, where everybody was just like, okay, this guy went in, now I'm going to go in and die as well, like one after the other. So they really got to work on their teamwork, I would say, as a squad, because individually we know they're very capable, but yeah, not 100% sure. Is there any other team outside of LPL and LCK that you guys think might have a chance at this tournament?
I mean, Lion, given the most recent MSI performance, right? Obviously, it's team inspired, as the memes have been growing, and I just feel like they've got very capable solo laners. We've seen that now, right? As it seems to go, everyone is better than Dokla until it's time to be
I think Team Secret as well is one of those teams that actually proved themselves to a certain level at MSI and definitely could take games off of big teams.
I think it's Poon in the top lane and his crazy counter picks. You know? Obviously, the Volibear was like the big one, which it's just one of those champions that you won't scrim against a lot.
Yeah.
And then then it's time to play versus him on stage and like, wow, this W healed him for 400 health.
What does this champ do again?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get surprised, especially in BO1, it's big. It's a huge.
Yeah.
But they're playing against the veteran, like the Sentinels. They're old. Like it means like they've been playing forever these League of Legends. So for sure they're gonna know somehow like playing against the surprise pick, the bucket picks.
Yeah, I just as an LCK guy myself, just thinking about Broken Blade's Kled and how T1 were like, wait, what? Like, wait, he can just solo both of us?
Hold on, he just got back up on the horse thing? Why did
what is that? Why did it run away and then it came back? Like, is that on a timer? Like, how do we... Yeah, it just feels like, it can look a little bit silly when our pro players are like, what does this champ do? But I think, they obviously know what the champ does, but at the same time, it's like if you don't have multiple pro games against it, you're just not going to know exactly how it spikes, exactly how it feels in a late stage of the game in a side lane when there's 45 minutes and elders spawning and stuff like that. So definitely a lot of chances, I would say, especially when we have best of ones here, to kind of try to sneak games off of big opponents. And, BLG, they just came off of a very long MSI, almost won at the end, and then lost to game 5. So where's their mental at? Are they ready to just come over to Paris and play a best of 1 against Koi?
Yeah, they should be. Like this look, think about how many times this team has finished second at internationals in the last 3 or 4 years. Like this is a team that's got a lot of resilience, that bounces back. And I think Danny really has these guys under his thumb, right? And I think he's really whipped them into shape. So even though, yes, it's a disappointing result to go 5 games, to lose the HLE, especially when you've already beaten them and you beat them in a pretty convincing fashion as well in the first series, they'll be ready. They'll be ready. And I think, again, the main thing is just Bin steps up, and most of the rest of the squad was fine, right? Shin and On were great. Knight was mostly fantastic throughout a lot of that tournament. There's not really a lot to worry about for me.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. There's so many players that you can actually play through it, and it's like they've been, like as you said, I think it's just like they've been through run and roll for wars. So they've been probably worse, So the experience is gonna be there.
Also, definitely looking at that JDG Lion game as one where it's like, well, we didn't really get to see JDG. I think if you're not an LPL avid watcher, you probably don't know exactly what to expect from this team, but you just saw a lot of Lion gameplay. So what do you think, Jamada? I've
got it.
Yeah.
It's Junjia. Junjia is a psychopath. Now, he's been reined in a little bit, but the main thing really is just the early career pathing and just how he makes games chaotic, if that's what JDG desire. And I think how that lines up against Inspired, who obviously is typically very calculated and very meticulous, is going to be the matchup to watch for me. Just because, again, Inspired did a lot of interesting pathing at MSI. He made games awkward if they had to be awkward. He made them very stalemate if they had to be stalemate. And I think against Junjia, who's typically very one gear, that's a matchup where I'm thinking, okay, well, Inspired, how are you going to deal with this guy? Because he will be up in your face. The second he's got lane power somewhere, he is going to come and attack you.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be pretty fun to watch that jungle matchup. We are going to take a look at the brackets that we have here for the specific groups. So in terms of the opening matches, G2 up against Furia is going to be happening. And then, of course, T plus Kia versus AGAL. And then you go into an elimination match, decider match. You just want to make it to playoffs. We saw the prize pool before. Even if you do get 16th place, you still get 30 grand. But at the same time, there's just so much on the line, not just in terms of money, but in terms of pride for your organization, trying to get as good of a placement for the championship points at EWC. But also just to try to prove if you're one of these teams that weren't at MSI or didn't place very highly in your region's playoffs and stuff like that, you want to prove that actually we are a good team that can stand with some of the best internationally. You guys were talking about, trying to learn from, some of the other teams when you are at an international tournament and just getting better in that fashion. So I do think that a lot of the teams here have a lot to gain by being at EWC outside of just the money and the pride. As here's Group B, Team Secret up against Sentinels. That's going to be our first match of today here on the secondary stream. And then Karmine Corp and Gen G also going to be happening on the main stage. Going to be a pretty fun one at that. You guys think Gen G's ready to play, or does Karmine Corp have a good angle? I think it's a pretty close matchup, actually.
I mean, 100%. I think it's 100% agree. Like, I think it's also the same questions for Gen G, right? Like, they almost qualify for MSI, but being ends up disqualifying the MSI. And then, are they ready? Are they mentals okay? And also, like, Karmine Corp, like, they shows, like, really good momentum. Like, even though, like, the result was not that great, like, the progress was there.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about both of them is that they have very similar issues, right? It's the support jungle, like, it's the support jungle synergy overall, and how they actually link up on the map. Because obviously, Dura and Canyon definitely been struggling, and I mean, we had it prime and center MSI between Lucio and Yak.
So here's Group C. We are going to have BLG versus Koi here on the secondary stage, and then also GAM versus T1 will be on main stage. I do think that T1 should be heavily favored there, even if, you know, they didn't look 100% at MSI. I would say, you know, GAM are good, but T1 is kind of on another level. That first match, I don't know. BLG should be favored as well, but it's a best of one. So I don't really know if BLG have it 100%, and I wouldn't count Koi out by any means.
Weird draft. I think Koi can make the game, like, different for BLG coming off the back of, like, I think what a meta that ended up kind of being solved in the end by MSI. So it's really about the prep, I think, for Koi.
And here's Group D. Humble Life Esports up against MIBR, and then we have JDG against Lion, which is going to be the match that we are doing here on this stream. Does feel like HLE you know, they're coming off of winning MSI against BLG in a best of 5. And going through a lot of other very strong teams. So they should be the favorites for the group, I would think.
100%. I mean, they feel good, right? Like, they're really crazy. They play most recent, actually, the biggest tournament as an international. They also showed off, like, really good performances as well. But sure, they dropped a lot of the game, but doesn't mean that they lost the series. They won the series, so they are the strongest team at the moment. So it's gonna be a tough one.
You know, it does feel like sometimes the teams play extra games almost on purpose. You know, they talk about the T1 circus all the time, where it's like, did they really have to go to Game 5? Did they have to go to Game 3? If we're talking about, you know, a league format. They get extra experience. They get a lot of stage experience.
Intentionally lose, or do they want lower bracket and play through all the way up? Do they want that?
It's a lot of practice. I think HLE, you know, they essentially win MSI, get on a plane to Paris, come over, just like us, actually, who were on the same flight. So MSI ends, get on a plane, come over here. You might expect that they're tired, but I think more often than not, the extra practice and the extra games actually helps our teams, which is why a lot of, like, lower bracket runs even happen, because they just get so much momentum.
Yeah, they'll be warm. They'll be warm. Like, and again, because we're on the same patch, I think it's probably important to mention same patch as MSI. You know, I think between them and BLG, they were the two teams that were drafting the best, as well as just having really weird out there things, right? So they should be prepped, they should be ready, and by the time they start beating teams later in the bracket, which is the expectation, that can challenge them, that's where I want to see if they actually had anything else left in the bucket.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also really important to deal with the jet lag, right? I think it's like the schedule, it is like kind of tough, so like it's same for us. So I know how, I don't know, I mean, they got to manage. Like, that's where professional came from. So
yeah, there's a lot on the line, a lot for the teams to manage, and of course a lot to do here at EWC. Let's talk about our club championship points here in this video right now.
$75 million, 25 tournaments, over 200 clubs, only one club champion. The club championship is the beating heart of the Esports World Cup. Over 7 weeks, esports clubs send their players to compete. Every placement, every win, every podium earns points for their club. At the end of 7 weeks, every point counts. the club at the top walks away with $7 million and the title of Best Esports Club in the world. It's not about being the best at one game. It's about being the best across all of them. Depth, versatility, consistency under pressure. One championship trophy, one title. Who will take it? Watch history unfold in Paris at the Esports World Cup 2026.
So much to play for here, and we're only doing one small part of it at League of Legends, and we're also doing one part of the League of Legends as well, because there's 2 streams this year. Always very interesting. You know, I think it's a really good setup where you could watch your favorite team for one match early on the main stage, but then, you know, you got your other favorite team here on the secondary stage, and all these teams, as I mentioned before, just trying to fight for getting points for their club, essentially. That's really the biggest thing. It's kind of the overarching theme of the esports World Cup. That's kind of the idea. And so always pretty fun to see. I do think that some of the teams here definitely gain a lot of points from League of Legends compared to other games.
Maybe.
I think T1 has other teams, but I would say that League of Legends probably their main go-to is like Faker's definitely a big face for the org, and Gen G as well. I think that they actually do have a lot of other teams and stuff, but could be looking to try to get a lot of points at League of Legends. Any other squads that come to mind when you're thinking about the club championship?
I mean, G2.
Yeah.
G2 got a lot of fingers in different pies, and they have done for a really long time. And typically, they're high-end performers, actually.
Is
G2
it
teams.
a cottage pie or is it a shepherd's pie?
Oh, well, now that depends on...
Depends.
I learned that today, yeah.
Yeah, depends.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kuni?
Yeah, I mean, I think the balance, I mean, this is really interesting, like the format, right? Like you have to kind of balance out for the org point. I think that's the one of, like, the other keys, like you're not going to be able to see like often, right? Like there's so many games playing for this whole, the international tournament, this whole event as well. I mean, this is like really important and it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome here at EWC, and we do have an opening ceremony, I believe, that is coming in very quickly straight to you guys on the main stage. So let's jump to it right now.
Bonjour Paris, bienvenue à la maison. Welcome home. Guys, il existe beaucoup de ligues de champions, mais une seule ligue des légendes. Et nous y sommes. Things are about to get started. Ian, how are you doing?
I'm doing incredible. You know what? It is an unbelievable time to be a League of Legends fan. How are we doing, Paris? All good? Fantastic. Listen, the confetti had barely settled on the floor at MSI, and the best players in the world were already hopping on a flight from South Korea to Paris for the Esports World Cup. This is going to be epic.
Et vous le savez, pas de repos pour les braves, no rest for the wicked. But I feel like we've spoke enough, you know? Like, I think it's time to abrège, frère.
Abelesfa.
Abrège, frère.
Where? Enough talk. Let's bring out the 16 teams onto the stage.
First up, a LPL powerhouse, it's JD Gaming! Built for pressure, always dangerous when lights are on them.
Please welcome Lion! North America's top seed, determined to prove they don't just belong amongst the world's giants, they can beat them.
Le rêve d'un homme, 5 génies du jeu. What's the color? Kevin, go! Could this be the year KC reaches the top of the world at home in Paris?
Let's keep moving. It's MIBR! South America's representatives playing fast, fighting hard, and fearing no one.
We've got some booze here. Next up, welcome to G2 Esports! Europe's leading force with incredible talents. They carry hopes of an entire region on their shoulders. Au sommet de l'Europe, vous les connaissez, ce sont les G2 Esports!
Bienvenue, Furia! Fueled by the passion of Brazil and capable of turning an entire game on its head in a matter of seconds.
Next up is a big, big team. Hanwha Live Esports! HLE! Fresh from lifting the MSI trophy, arriving in Paris with the hottest momentum ever. Ils sont venus chercher un nouveau trésor à Paris.
Tough team to beat, indeed. Let's now welcome AGAL! China's fearless challengers, already proven against elite opposition, and capable of shaking up this entire tournament.
Welcome, DK! An organization with a huge international record. Ils vont représenter la LCK fièrement. Ils viennent pour retrouver une gloire d'antan, mesdames et messieurs. DK!
Please welcome Movistar Koi! Tough old crowd here in Paris, but they're not afraid of them. They bring that famous Spanish fire with a nation behind them and the best in the world in front of them. Come on, guys.
Billy Gaming! The MSI runner-ups who almost touched the trophy and surely to take here in Paris. Parce qu'à l'EWC, on ne vient pas pour être deuxième.
Here we go. T1! The most decorated organization in League of Legends history, led by the man who has defined this game for more than a decade.
Next up, we have GAM Esports. They will probably be representing Vietnam on the national stage. The odds have never scared them. Est-ce que le Shonen GAM peut continuer à Paris à l'EWC?
Coming onto the stage, Sentinels! The North American side, whose return to League has brought them all the way here to Paris.
Et bienvenue à Team Secret Wales, the upper contenders with experience, with confidence. Attention à ne pas sous-estimer Team Secret.
And finally, the team, Gen G! Last year's Esports World Cup winners, the title defenders, returned to this stage to prove that victory was not the destination, it was only the beginning.
Devenue une référence mondiale, bien au-delà de la Corée du Sud, les Gen G sont là pour conserver leur titre.
A crowded stage packed with the best in the world looking to make history once again at the Esports World Cup. And we start off with a ruthless group stage.
Best of ones, anyone can fall. Bienvenue au group stage de l'Esports World Cup League of Legends.
Faites du bruit!
I am the arena. I am the slaughterhouse. I am the cathedral where empires are born. I am the grave where their thrones are torn. When the crowd pour in like the Sen under the Pont Marabou, heroes are minted in my light. Mythologies whispered into the long night. I choose no sides. I keep no score. I only hold the silence before the first roar. I've watched new faces being carved into gods in a single day. A single fight. A single flash of brilliance that rewrote every record in sight. I also saw them fall. Kings, egos, names, all crumbled by one bad call, one missed spell, one doubt that was never meant to dwell. I have watched brilliance take over, mastering the rift by the speed of thought, a moment of perfection that cannot be bought. I held the breath before the kill, and caught the long exhale when the final one fell. I am the beast who cradles legends in my glow, and the same one that swallows them whole. And yet, I am still here, waiting for the next souls brave enough to walk my stage, to take their places beneath my gaze, to rise or to fall, and to seal their fates.
An absolutely epic opening ceremony here for League of Legends. Obviously, Gen.G walking out at the end with their big EWC trophy from last year. The team to beat is what it was said, and yes, they are the title defenders, but at the same time, there's just so much competition here. Feels like every year we don't know exactly which team is going to make it. Maybe Gen.G actually do play much better here at this EWC and surprise us all. Would be pretty interesting to see that. Obviously, they have some pretty big names, but yeah, anything else that stood out to you guys from the opening ceremony?
Yeah, I mean, it's from Gen.G perspective. There's 15 teams and looking at them and trying to get the trophies out of the way. Like, I think it's a lot of pressure, right? I think that's the big key today. Like, just you have to deal with the pressure, and it's a really important, like, how you start the day one, especially. Like, that's how it's gonna be. Being ends up for the BO3, it's gonna be related. BO5 is gonna be related.
I just feel like the fact that Gen.G weren't at MSI, but were very much likely scrimming all of the good MSI. Like, they had to have just been the scrim partner of the tournament because they weren't competing, right? So again, I think the learnings from those scrims is probably going to have done a lot more work than we're ready for. Because again, it's not like they lost out on not making it to MSI by like some long, large stretch.
Yeah,
it was one game, right? So they're still going to be scary. So I think still realistically one of the teams to beat, or the team to beat, really.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how strong they got through all those scrims, and just the fact that you get to, as you said, be the main scrim partner, because you don't want to scrim the other team that you might face off in a best of 5 against, because you're going to be showing off a lot of your stuff in those scrims, whereas Gen.G could have shown anything and the other teams could have shown anything to them. So I feel like they get the best learning from that, at least. But they don't get a lot of stage experience, but I don't think really any of these guys they don't need that.
Do they need more experience?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe Dura.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think, guys like Ruler, Chovy should be pretty okay. I don't know what their form is going to be like, but definitely looking forward to seeing that. If you guys missed it from the top of the show, we do have Team Secret up against Sentinels for our first match. And I do think that it is going to be fun to see who's going to show up here from these two teams, because my money's kind of on Team Secret at the moment, but it's a best of 1.
So same, but also Sentinels have this weird thing where they do play up to the level of their opponent, at least in NA. Their record in spring was really funny because the series score was like borderline terrible. They almost like missed out on playoffs, but their actual game score was something silly, like, I don't know, I'm just going to arbitrary numbers here, but it's like 11-9.
Yeah.
Right? So all their series went the distance. This team, I think, again, it's predominantly made up of Korean players, right? So this, like, mechanical skill floor is a lot higher than you'd probably anticipate, especially considering when, you look at the domestic record and it's like, oh, hey, they finished 4th. They're here at EWC though, because they qualified through and did beat, pretty much all of the good teams. They ran through the upper bracket in the quals.
Yeah, I mean, NA team is also really known as, like, you lose against any team.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So for them, for the Sentinels perspective, like, they don't want to, drop the first game from EWC day 1.
Yeah, I do think there is some pressure there, especially because it is a very strong group. You got to start off strong. In terms of experience here, it does feel like it's a little bit all over the place, because you got guys like Impact, like Hui, but then you also have like Hanbok and Rahel.
Yeah.
Like, they played a bunch actually in Korea, but it wasn't necessarily at a big or high level. Like, Hanbok was on Bro, I think, for a while, but they
got
weren't.
summoned Egon back.
Yeah. Where is he gone? He's on the other stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, he played in the LCK, but also he wasn't, like, I think he played like half split, and then like Kroko came in. So you know, he has some experience, but it wasn't like he was playing on playoff stages. And I think when you're on a gigantic stage like this, there's going to be a lot more pressure than I think some of these younger, lesser experienced players will be ready for.
And that's why I really want to track Darkwings, because obviously he is the de facto rookie of the team. And honestly, he's done really well this year. He did get a little bit of time last year as well. So like hard calling him a rookie is maybe a little bit of a lie now, but the champion pool is very, very specific. It's very tied into these majors, like Hui, who obviously started to like drip in towards like maybe your game 3s and 4s, but he's a specialist at those kind of majors, right? Your mid-range majors. And when you get to that point, as long as his pool hasn't been pushed out, if we're talking fearless, obviously, he's a player that can actually contest. If he gets out of lane equal to almost any opponent, his team fighting is incredibly good.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of in-game, like, I think it's just really, right now, the meta is so easy to transit to, like, playing around Team Combat, just playing early game and make it hectic and chaotic, play for the tempo. Those things are so easy right now and so valuable, too. So I think it's a really great, opportunity, like, for just opens up, like, really great series.
And I think that's what his totem proven. MSI, they are chaos specialists, I would like to call them. Especially we learned, don't give his toe Lee Sin. Don't do it.
No.
It doesn't seem like a worthwhile risk.
Yeah. That's always the champion, I feel like, you know, but especially for his toe to kind of go into that level of like, you know, you said that about Lee Sin for many other players. Like, don't give Canyon Lee Sin. Yeah. Don't give Shin Lee Sin. Don't give the ex-player Lee Sin. Don't give Levi Lee Sin. You know, how many players do we have to do this with? But like now he's joined that echelon of like, oh, I'm that kind of jungler that you don't want to, you know, you can't give this, especially because Lee Sin, he got those buffs to safeguard like 2-3 patches ago. And then ever since then, he's been kind of a mainstay here and there in the meta. So definitely very good. I think as well, their solo laners are very interesting. You know, they're going to be bringing in weird picks and also it's very chaotic. You know, this is a team, a very young region, a very young team where it's very raw. They're good at the game, but also can they close out games in a very solid fashion like we see from some of our other regions teams?
And I think that's the exciting part about this roster, just kind of like the grander narrative of we just came off of a year where obviously CFO came in and were so exciting for all of 2025. And when that roster got picked apart, I feel like a lot of LCP fans were like, well, like, we might be back in the trenches again, but you know, Team Secret Worlds come in first MSI, and they look fantastic, man. Like that was a very promising showing, and I think here they're going to continue to try and put pride on the line for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the player perspective. Like I've been experiencing those. Like the first year attempt at international tournament, like the first time when I was in MSI, it was like really fun. Like oh, I was actually having fun. Oh, I guess I'm kind of good. Like. Oh, I guess I was at international level. I guess like that's what I did. And it's like after that, I attempt to words and it's like international tournament. It was really tough. I lost. I dropped the one game. GG. Basically, that's what happens. So like, it's really important like how you want to take it as a player. Like, do you want to enjoy this moment or do you want to, you really don't want to just like lose your mentality and just go home? As what they said. Do not book your flight ticket. Only.
It's rough. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on all these players, I would say, especially for this first match. Like our other matches have a lot of veterans, a lot of teams that have been kind of around the block, whereas these two teams, they have some experience, but not necessarily as much as you would like. So, who's going to show up for the best one? Who's going to be ready?
I think the fun thing, on top of everything else we've been talking about for Team Secret, is typically teams from the LCP especially, they're very underrepresented by forward-facing people in general, right? Like, it's a region that doesn't get a lot of watch all the time. And so I think that bleeds in a lot to then the gameplay where these teams are hungry. Like, I think a lot of the time you'll see historically, like, Western teams will come into LPL and LCK games and they're playing not to lose. And there's a big difference between playing not to lose and playing to win. And I feel like Team Secret will come in playing to win. Like, they don't care if they make the play that messes up the game. They're here to actually leave a mark on the tournament and win their way.
Yeah. And I would say that a lot of the teams that, I don't know, Sentinels, you said they played a lot of games in their region, but I saw Hambach at LCK. I saw Rahel in Challengers. I think he also had some LCK games.
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to be ready. It's part of the reason why I think that Team Secret, in my mind, is the big favorite for this one. But I don't know. I'm ready to be surprised because they have the hands for it. You know, they have the hands, but yeah, not 100% sure.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I mean, speaking of the hunger you mentioned about, like, I think the I'm like a close friend. Like, I was a close friend with the Impact. Like, he's like still hungry. Like, I don't know how he maintained the hunger. Like, he always just talk about the League of Legends 24/7. Like, he always asks like what pick is good in this meta. Like, he was like always trying to talk. Like, even though we go out to dinner with Impact, like, he was always asking me like, what do you think is good? Like, I think this is good. Like, what do you think? Like, let's have a discussion. Like, he's the type of the guy. So I believe he still does it. Like, he's crazy for that. So I believe that. But at the same time, as you guys mentioned a lot, like, I think the Team Secret, so like they're strong. I think I have really good faith that they can actually easily make us surprise today.
I think a lot is going to come down to the leadership of Huhi and his ability to really steer the ship of this team, especially if Team Secret will start to speed up the pace of the game, make things chaotic, maybe make it about jungle camps, right? Like, just like chicken invades, off cooldown, whatever it is. Sentinels need to be able to slow down the game to their pace and how they want to play it. Because, again, typically, NA teams, very slow. Like, even Lion, right? Sure, they made it top for MSI. They did it predominantly being very slow until they were really pressed up against the wall versus teams like HLE and G2, where it's like, okay, we have to play fast to actually survive here. And that's experience that Sentinels didn't get. So I'm curious about how quickly they're actually going to play the game, because this does feel like a meta where things change quickly, like minute to minute, just based on how quickly the objectives are spawning up. Whether it's like lane priority, itemization, all of these things have really trended towards just like fight, skirmish, 24/7, and that's experience that Sentinels didn't get at MSI.
I didn't really get that experience. I do think that, especially, you know, we're here on the secondary stage, right? There is a massive main stage that eventually these teams are going to have to play on, hopefully. I would assume that probably every team gets, you know, one stage here, one stage there. But, you know, it's good to start off on the secondary stage if you're not 100% ready to go, right? Or if you're not, if you're a little bit nervous.
It's like a feeler, an appetizer.
Yeah. You know, every one of these players, even if they're not super experienced, they've played on stages like this before, right? So they should be at least pretty comfortable there. You know, they've got like a couple of rows where you have like even staff from your team who are cheering you on directly. It might even feel somewhat scrim-like. So I do think that, you know, when everybody's comfortable, maybe Sentinels can really show some cool stuff. And I'm getting word that we're getting very close to starting this first game, which I'm sure that you guys are chomping at the bit to get into this one. So you do see the players already setting up on the stage. And yeah, it's going to be a fun one. One best of one to see who's going to start off in a good spot in the group. And yeah, money can be on one team or the other, but again, best of one. Very curious to see what's going to happen. Looks like Team Secret Wales already getting some cheers from the audience as we get the zoom in on the team.
Yeah, I mean, the energy is there, the crowd is there. I mean, there was not many people here, but like, I think it's just like as soon as like the opening ceremony is over, they just came here to actually just watch the game. Pretty good.
Yeah, slight crowd favorite as far as the stage here is concerned. Don't think it's going to bother Sentinels too much though.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty interesting. Darkwings looks like he's ready to go. Very much in the zone, looks pretty relaxed, to be honest, which is, I think, exactly the mindset you want to have coming into this best of one. Just play your game. I'm sure that, you know, you can get some scrims going. You can try to figure out what the enemy team is going to do. But at the same time, it does feel like you just got to play your game. You just got to do what you prepared and make sure you're ready to go. Maybe do some meditation. You know, that's a faker favorite, obviously. And we did see that Hui was doing that. As we have the coaches, we have the teams ready on stage. We are going to be hopping into draft in just a moment. So very curious to see as well, you know, where the meta is going here after MSI. And it looks like we do have our casters ready to go. So guys, take it away.
Thank you so much, Valdez. That was an absolute phenomenal sort of series. That opening ceremony was incredible. My name is Pike. I'm joined with Logan as we are here to take you through this first fantastic game. It is Team Secret Whales versus Sentinels, Logan. It's going to be a spicy one.
Oh, g'day. I'm so excited for this one as well. As you said, that opening ceremony, it was phenomenal. And these teams here today, Team Secret Whales of the LCP and Sentinels from the LCS. Oh my goodness, that zoom in on that key that is, you know, everything's riding on that. If they drop out, it gets crushed. But right now, we're in those upper brackets, so we are chilling before we get into that draft bike.
Yeah, and you got to look at this stage as well. It's looking phenomenal. Well, these teams are looking prime and ready. A lot of them coming from MSI. Team Secret Whales having a pretty good run at MSI too. So they're starting to show up. They're starting to prove their name out here. But Sentinels, it's another story. Both these teams hungry, virile, ready to go and want to take these stage further. Because remember, it's a best of one. It's only one game, so draft's really important here.
Best of one means everything matters. You cannot leave anything on the Rift here, right? You've got to get those meta picks. You've got to get those comfort picks, things that you are comfortable on. And let's take a look at the draft here. As you can see, Sentinels coach Golden Glue, you know him, you love him. He is a household name over in the LCS. And then we've got Deos over here for Team Secret Whales. I thought it was actually Warhorse as well there, but we've got some coaching and I love these graphics that we're seeing here. As these players, they're going to go through these drafts and they're going to take a minute to decide on what they want.
That's the big thing, right? Is like there's so many big picks here. We saw MSI was so massive. We saw a great diversity in what we saw, especially those majors in the bot lane. I think this is one thing we're going to be watching the whole time we're here at EWC. It's going to be very interesting. But again, it's just versatility. It's where do these champions go? We have tanks up in the top side, but you also got hella bruisers. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, we already have some of these bans coming through. I love the bans coming out of Sentinels. They've hit that Nautilus early, that phenomenal support who's able to engage on those long-range bot-side comps, right? That Ashe Seraphine, they hate that Nautilus. Poppy shuts down any of those sort of dashes, which we're already seeing coming out of Sentinels. They've got Lee Sin already, that hard early aggression, and they've robbed his toe of it.
Oh, I can't believe it. Robbing his toe is a bit of a nightmare, but it's going to be so good on Humbug here. They're going to be feeling really strong, pulling out big moves in the start of the game. It's going to be a bit difficult for this Ezreal and Karma, but at the same time, it's still an Ezreal. You're going to be able to dash out. You're going to be able to have a little bit of safety, and you're all about playing a little bit sort of back. You can take laning phases yourself. Karma's going to be roaming around. It is going to be BA, moving around the map and trying to influence mid, top, even the jungle.
That's the thing I do love about this bot side comp, right? You can leave an Ezreal alone to farm all on their own while you actually have impact on that Rift. Karma gets around faster than you expect, but I'm also loving these other bans we're seeing. We've seen Camille banned. She's such a high prio support. Immediately coming out of MSI, she's super aggressive, right? She's the Lee Sin of support. You need to go hard and fast early with this one. Bard, just an absolute menace, taken away. So you can tell they've done their research here. Rumble with all of that top lane priority, but his toe for me, I think he has to get that Xin Zhao. He is phenomenal on that champion, but then it depends on the draft.
That is so true, but you've picked up the Rise now, so we're past the first pick phase, and it's looking really good. The Rumble being locked in tells me they are looking for some big team fights. They're going to be looking mid to late game, but Lee Sin's going to be working the map. As long as it's going to be a relatively decent sort of matchup in the top side, we're thinking most likely a Cassante, usually sort of that answer into the Rumble, means we're going to see a little bit more, but there it is. Xin Zhao has been taken off the board. They are now looking at his toe as this playmaker that is going to move the map. There are other options too. J4 could still be up, but it hasn't been banned out yet. So Cassiopeia, Anivia now taken out too. They're looking at the mid game. They're looking at taking out Darkwings a little bit further out, but we have seen the Anivia and the Cassiopeia in the spot side, but Jhin being locked in. Now I'm looking at support. What do you put with this Jhin to really power through this team?
One thing before we get to that, they are a threat. They just banned J4. These are his two most played to date champions in 2026. He comes in here as the youngest player. He was the youngest going to MSI. He's the youngest here at EWC, and those are his top 2 most played. So Sentinels have done their homework. They've done the research and gone, Hizto, you do not get comfort. You do not get meta. You have to work even harder for this. But as you said, Anivia gone. So a lot of that playmaking ability, those walls, and we're seeing Wukong locked in here for Hizto of Team Secret Wales. I kind of like this pick, the engage potential from this. Really good. And Bruiser, as you called.
Yeah, like this is the big thing, right? There's not too much front to back right now for Secret Wales. They are very sort of that poke heavy. They want to lock them down a little bit, but right now, Wukong coming in, going to get that Cyclone off, is going to do a really good job. Now, the Orianna, I don't know how we missed this, Logan, because this champion has been all over the Rift for months now. So being this sort of high priority mid laner too, it does well into the Rise, and paired up with the Lee Sin, that's a ball delivery system if ever I've seen it, and I'm very scared to see this mid jungle duo for Sentinels really pop off.
One thing that's interesting to note to me is both of these comps are looking very fragile right now. Rumble is in that top side for impact, but Rumble is not your traditional tank. He can dish out a lot of damage, but he can't take a lot of damage.
Oh! Blitzcrank being locked in. That is aggression if ever I've seen it, Logan. Pairing it with the Jhin, you're going to have great lockdown. That is huge. He must be feeling good today.
Yeah, and after we saw Delight on Blitzcrank at MSI, he was an absolute menace. But what are these compositions right now? I mean, Impact is clearly on the Rumble in the top side, but what is... there we go, Tim. So they were messing with my emotions there. Oh my goodness. Cassante, that classic Cassante Rumble top lane matchup. So it's going to be a much slower lane, but it's going to be that front line that Team Secret Wales so desperately needs. But this is the 8th most played champion in Pun's history, right? I was expecting something a little spicy from him, but I just don't think the Sentinels composition allows for it.
Look, that's it. When there is a Blitzcrank in this game, it is all about having that wall. Cassante is that wall. You need to keep Eddie alive as long as possible. You need to keep D-Ray surviving these fights and being able to come in with a Realm Warp and do some damage. So that's what I'm really looking at here. You can see Warhorse, you can see Deos there having a chance saying, what is the team's next move? Where do they put that focus? And it has to be this bot side for Team Secret Wales. They need to give Eddie a slight lead, an edge, a movement in the game, and they should be able to run away with it. But you can't ignore Sentinel's team comp here is damage, damage, damage.
Aggression across the Rift coming out of the Sentinels here. And this is their first international, right? Sentinels joined the LCS here in 2026, and they have made it through the online qualifiers to get to EWC. So they really want to put on a good show for this international event here. And, you know, sometimes they can be quite feast or famine, but right now you have to be feast. Yes, this is at the upper brackets, but it's a BO1. You lose here, you get knocked down to the lowers, and you are on your last chance, and that is not where you want to be for both of these teams, Pike. So really excited for both of these compositions. Team Secret Wales, they've gone with the more the traditional front to back. They've got the front line in Cassante, but a lot of poke. However, Sentinels, hyper aggression.
It's pick potential. That Blitzcrank is where I'm going to be looking at who he needs to be making plays early and aggression. And we're getting onto the Rift here now, Logan, ready for game 1, the League of Legends at EWC 2026. And it is going to be a big one. This is both these teams. Like you said, it's Sentinel's first time at an international event. Secret Wales, they've come off some good wins at MSI. It's two teams looking to make their mark here. And here we go, 30 seconds in. They're on the Rift, and we're seeing what their play is going to be. But it looks pretty stock standard.
Yeah, both teams, though, they have a fair bit of international experience, right? Obviously, Sentinels, they've got Impact, a former world champion. So he brings a lot of experience to these games. And Team Secret Wales, though, they've been to so many international events. They have a lot of international experience. They're able to handle the pressure that comes with these live crowds, these marathon best ofs, which obviously isn't the case here being a BO1, but they know what they're in for. They've been here before and they can do it again. As we do take a look here, we've got D-Ray in that mid lane on that rise. Do love to see him on that. But I want to see, as you were saying, Team Secret Wales, I think their bot lane will be what will be their win condition. But I think Sentinels, their mid through top, can be their win condition.
Yeah, I think it's that Lee Sin Orianna combo, right? I think that's one of those big things that a lot of teams really utilize well, especially at this pro level. They can get that ball delivery in. One good shockwave, we've seen teams do it before, can turn the tides. So we'll have to see as we have hit a little technical pause, and we're just going to see these fantastic teams on your screen. But still, we got onto the Rift, and I'm kind of curious, what do you think is going to be like the major, final factor of this series, this particular game, Logan? Where do you think the action's going to be?
I dare say you almost hit it in the nail on the head with the Orianna Shockwave, right? We have seen Caps, we have seen Faker get those 4-man, those 5-man Shockwaves that has ended a team fight before it has even begun, and then they've just been able to run straight down mid and take the game. But that will be mid through late game. We're still, good hook.
Look, it's going to be the grab that is going to pull BA in, but it's still a Karma. You do have a lot of the Mantra shields. You can play relatively safe and get some damage back, but you can see they're getting ready for that level 2 as second wave is prime, but I have to see because already I can see Humbuck is down bot side. Could be looking for a level 2 gank.
Yeah, junglers have started on opposite sides of the rift here. We've got his toe on the top side. We've got Humbuck on that bot side. But a great first hook coming out of Huhi to put that pressure onto Team Secret Whales. You must respect the Blitzcrank hook. Yes, they've lost in HP for now, but they're also up in health potions as D-Ray walking forward aggressively into Darkwings. He needs to be careful. He has warded out this camp though, so Humbuck probably not going to be able to get anything done here as Pun looking low into the likes of Impact on that Rumble.
Yeah, but the big thing here is Pun still has a slight lead. So yes, you're looking low. You're always going to go low into a Rumble in Cassante matchup, but it's not about the early game. It's about how fast and passionate. But look at Pun already taken so low. Has to back up. Flash goes forward. Impact flashes too. And they do just survive. No health, no mana for either side. But it is electricity in this top lane.
Pun is feeling himself, world champion or not. He will take it to you in the 1v1. Nearly takes out Impact. Well played by Impact there. Respecting the flash forward from Pun on that Cassante. And nothing comes of it. It's just burnt summoners. But they are now prime for ganks, and we see Humbuck on that top side. Pun has made it back out onto the rift using that teleport. He needs to be so careful. He's really pushed up right now, so a gank could come through there. But we're back on those bot sides. The wards are down, and it doesn't look like a gank will be coming through. His toe just finishing his jungle.
I think the big thing here is I'm surprised that there wasn't that early level 3 Lee Sin gank. I think I would have liked to see that out of Humbuck, but nice hook there, does miss. Now they're trying to move forward, and this is good aggression from Team Secret Whales on this bot side. It's what we wanted to see, but both sides can scale quite well. You do have a Rise, you do have that Ezreal. They want to play in that mid-late game, but you got to look at the other side. There needs to be that early aggression. If Lee Sin doesn't get those kills online fast, they're going to start falling off.
I really am surprised that Humbuck didn't go for that onto Cassante, actually. He was in the topside jungle of Team Secret Whales. He definitely could have wrapped around, but Pun did have a ward, had the vision, as his toe just appears bot side, gets a ward down, and Sentinels do spot him, so he's going to take that recall. But in the mid side, they've got their recalls. Humbuck, though, might be looking for something here. He's trying to play around vision. They need to be careful.
Yeah, it looks like he might be looking for a big rocket grab as there's the flash forward. Eddie able to move, but flashes the wall, able to survive a little bit longer, and you know what? 5-minute cooldown, that is on the clock, and we could be seeing a repeat gank onto Eddie.
Yeah, that's a 5-minute timer, as you say, and if that aggression comes through again, he's going to be stuck. That was fantastic shift from Eddie being able to get away, forcing them to overcommit and then flashing over the wall. BA, safe as you please. He wasn't the target. They weren't going for him, so no cooldowns expended there. Sentinels back away, starts a recall as this mid lane fight is somewhat hotly contested. Both of these mid laners, the Darkwings has committed that teleport, but D-Ray traditionally has that ghost, also has that flash, so we'll be able to take any sort of ganks that come through that mid side. So well positioned there. And credit to Impact, he is catching up on the CS in this top side matchup.
Yeah, look, and that's to be expected, right? We do know that that's going to be the single case. Rumble, especially Impact, very well-known player, incredibly skillful, has the hands, and this is going to be a test for Pun. They have to be a little bit more safe, I would say, in this lane. If they're not, it could be a disaster. So we have to really see Pun is going to be that front line, like we've said, and now BA being looked at, going to be hit up. This could be first blood, as it's a good flash, but still takes the resonating strike. BA still running half health. Here's Histo, looking for a bit of a cheeky fight too, but no, isn't able to do it. First dragon has spawned. It is going to be that Infernal, so a little bit of extra damage will go a long way in this early game.
Yeah, I think BA kind of got lucky there. Who he was going to predict with that hook, but unfortunately, because of the lockdown from the Deadly Flourish, is who he moving again, BA was able to dodge it and hold the flash, which got him away from the follow-up engage, and then his toe showed face. Sentinels respected that, were like, all right, no worries, we will back away. But who he is roaming Hui is looking to make impact early. He's already left that bot side, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to get other lanes ahead here. We're going to win through this mid through top side that we were talking about earlier as well. And the Drake has been started up. His toe is onto it.
But it's who's first to the Dragon. So you're right, it is his toe. But can Eddie and BA leave this bot side? We have seen Rahel sitting there comfortably, just holding the waves back. But now they're getting the shove. BA should be looking to make a rotation up. But if you leave Eddie unattended, it could be a disaster. One good hook can get the kill. It's just a shame that they haven't locked those kills down early. Just not enough damage. But Humbug looking for a potential dive up here with Impact, but no, says, you know what? It's fine. Let's back it off. We're going to trade the drag. Grubs aren't even up yet. You still got a minute and 45 seconds on those. So this could just be them looking to see if they can make some plays across the map. But it is Secret Whales, slightly. It's not much, but it's 300 gold.
I do like that we saw Humbug on that top side. That was a big wave that was crashing, but I think they respected the fact that it is still a Cassante. Cassante is one of the hardest champs to dive under a tower, no matter what you might think of your opponent as BA going in.
Yeah, looking for a fight. Does get hit with a rocket grab, but there's a lot of damage. Shuhi, Eddie's been hit with that. Cyclone is good. Is it going to be enough? They get first blood. Secret Whales are on the board, and they are going to be chasing them just a little bit further, but it is first blood for his toe.
Team Secret Whales take the first blood. They get that first blood gold bounty as well, and they've put themselves ahead. They're currently at 1,000 gold advantage with 1 minute before the Grubs, 4 minutes before that second Drake. So great position to be in. The kill did go over to his toe too, so you want that accelerated jungler.
Youngest player here is looking for those big damage. We'll have to see. As you can already see, it is Histo already working towards that top side. Probably going to do a little top side clear, then look at those Grubs as they spawn in 45 seconds. But great aggression and a bit of counterplay there too. BA felt very comfortable, knew that Histo was in the area for that. So I love to see it. We'll have to see if they can start making moves across the board again. But now, Hex Flash over the wall. It looks like it is who you may be looking for something, but okay, they're just backing it off. It has also been D-Ray as well, has sort of had to take a little bit of the back seat in a lot of these mid lanes too. So I'd like to see them get a little bit accelerated. Looking for something.
Yeah, Team Secret Whales is here. The whole team, it's a big fight.
They want some more. Is he getting knocked? That shockwave is good, but is it going to be D-Ray? Has to flash. Look at the backside though. There it is. Another kill for Histo. Looking for more. He has to be careful. They're getting low. They're getting dangerous, but the hook goes forward. It pulls in BA. They're underneath the tower now. They're not going to be able to hold on just that much longer. Rahel picks up the kill, and it is a 1-for-1.
Ultimately, only a 1-for-1 for that massive team fight. They did bring 4 members each here. Histo has both of those kills, so their jungler is ahead, but Rahel comes out on top here, picking up that 1 kill. Down 10 CS though, so Eddie still gold advantage, but it is nice to see Rahel catching up, and that priority over to Team Secret Whales, they're able to get onto those Grubs. But let's take a look at this replay. It's Humbug aggressing forward, trying to take these camps from his toe, and Team Secret Whales, they collapse. They see the play coming, and they go for it. D-Ray caught on the side, forced to flash after the deadly flourish, but that pulls 2 members of Sentinels away from the main fight. So Team Secret Whales use their numbers advantage to collapse onto the Sentinels, and the hook from Hui to drag BA in to give them something back. Otherwise, that could have been an absolute disaster from an overly aggressive play.
As a great consolation prize, unfortunately, they did still miss out on the Void Grub, so it was Secret Whales able to get that productivity. As they're looking for something, Relwolf's coming in. D-Ray wants to join this fight. Humbug is a little bit low, has to ward hop away, but it is just a bit of a rough spot. But look at Pun up here too. Doesn't have much mana, is about 3/4 health, so have to be a little bit careful. Flash goes forward again. 5-minute timers be damned. They're just flashing every chance they get. D-Ray, Histo, they're coming up. They're looking for more. Humbug can't hold on. It's Pun with their first kill here at EWC, and a great reactive play.
I was like, Pun, what are you doing? You just saw Humbug on the Lee Sin there, and he baits it in. He knew exactly what he was doing. He all outed and turned it around on the Sentinels. Team Secret Whales up 3-1 against Sentinels right now. 1K gold lead. Objectives starting to appear on the map again. 1.5 minutes to that track. Hui here, probably going to look for that hook, or just tell them to bugger off.
Yeah, look, I think they're saying maybe we want to go for something here, but impact's low. You've got to be super careful with that, because Pun can stay quite tanky in these fights and hold on a little bit more. They do have that Negatron choke, because they're going to have that little bit of magic resist too. Maybe staying here for Pun is not a bad idea. You do have that blue buff, so you're able to get a little bit more mana. Equalizer drop just to clear the wave. I do respect that.
Yeah, you got to get that CS. You got to slow the advance down. I mean, Impact is currently ahead in CS now too, so he has fought up, and he is sort of keeping the lane stable, right? Sentinels can depend on their top laner. Again, former world champion, so you know he's good at this. And we take a look at the vision control, right? Both teams have so much vision through these rivers, especially around that mid lane. D-Ray, he hasn't been ganked yet, so to speak. They're trying to make some plays on him, but they're more opportunistic than forced.
I think D-Ray's happy to take the back seat here. You want to get those items on the board, like already just got Swifty boots, maybe a tier. It's not the greatest start for a Rise, but when is it ever really a great start for a Rise when you're trying to get that tier online and get that scaling on board? But yeah, gold lead is still quite comfortable. 1k gold for Secret Wales here, like you said, with those 3 kills. But we need to start seeing what Sentinels can do to be a bit more proactive. They haven't got an objective on the board just yet. Secret Wales have that control. We need to start seeing those early aggressive plays again. Remember, we have a Lee Sin in the game. We want to see Humbug do something with it.
I mean, the thing is, we are seeing Humbug do things. He's just not coming out of those fights well. 0-2 and 0. That is not a Lee Sin that you want in this early stage. Hopefully there's a way for him in the late game, but Pun all out.
Looking for something straight over the wall. Impact's got nowhere to go. No flash. Could be a solo bolo trying to use that shield. One more dog, and he's got the nice little thumbs up too. He has to back off. Impact's just too fast.
Hun, though, getting the better of Impact. The chase is not done. He's prevented the recall. There's a fight around the Drake.
Yes, straight up. They're looking for the TP play. They might not be able to do much, but Humbug is looking to back off already. I think they're just conceding the drag. I think Secret Wales just sent the masses.
Yeah, they absolutely respected the numbers. I mean, Pun was there as well. He TP'd down to give them that numbers advantage. So from that fight that Pun had with Impact, he forced him away into the recall, prevented the recall, TP'd down, giving them that top side advantage and the numbers advantage.
Flash goes forward. Is it going to be enough as the Cyclone's being used? He's so slow. The shields are good. The mantra might keep them alive. Dashing away. Who he doesn't know where to go. He's pulled left, right, and center, but the hook does go through. It is all of Secret Wales. Flashes burnt, but they get out with their lives.
Yeah, arcane shift there from Eddie to get him over the wall. What I really, really love there is that they did it at exactly the same time. So I was like, was that like an in-sync double flash? But nothing lost there for Team Secret Wales, but a couple of summoners. It does mean that BA is susceptible to a gank, but that is a very, very tanky support. Meanwhile, these mid laners, they're just chilling. They're just farming their CS. Darkwings is 20 up over D-Ray. D-Ray, I think, is kind of playing the sort of weaker mid lane right now. Darkwings getting a lot of that push into him, but the team is okay with this for now.
I think that's the big thing, right? Orianna does have that little bit of an advantage in the early game. Once you hit 6, the Shockwave is that big team fight objective, but Rise is just a bit of a slow burn in these games. So still looking for that Rod of Ages. It's only like halfway complete. So it is going to be a while till we see D-Ray really come online. But yes, you're right. Darkwing picking up the Blackfire Torch. It's going to be a lot of burn damage to be able to a bit more sustain in these fights. So I'm curious to see how they're going to start moving around the map, because we've seen all of Sentinels trying to move together. Roam as one, but it's just not landing as it should. So nice of Impact trying to cancel the back, but not just in time.
What I'm loving right now, though, is the ward setup, the vision control. The Rift Herald is up in 1.5 minutes, and we're seeing a lot of Team Secret Wales vision around that top side from the jungle of Sentinels, right? So they want to see where the Sentinels are coming in for this Rift Herald. And items are starting to come through. We saw Pun pick up that Panic Rook Urn a couple of minutes ago, so he feels a lot more comfortable trading into that AP damage that Impact is able to do. Humbug with the Eclipse, able to trade a bit more effectively. He's also on one item though, so it's somewhat competent. That Drake though, still 3 minutes off. Time enough to get half, maybe a full item in some of these players.
Oh, it looks like he's looking for something, trying to get a little bit more. There is the Cyclone, but it is 3 against 1.
Oh.
Nice kick. The Dragon's Rage lands, and it's a shutdown going for Humbug. But now they're looking at Eddie. Good flash to try and get out. The Curtain's call is there. Let's see if they can send the full kitchen sink at Eddie, but he's holding on. The smite goes forward. It's not enough. Humbug picks up the double, and it's a nice secure, and Sentinels take it 3-3.
Yeah, great timing to win that fight as well. 30 seconds on that Rift Herald. Sentinels have put themselves in a great position. Humbug, if he wants, will have time to recall and get back out onto the Rift, because there has been that Hextech Drake, so the gates have been open. They're able to roam a lot quicker. A lot of these role quests nearly finished as well, only waiting for Huhi.
The big thing about roaming quicker too, it is a Hextech soul. That's the big thing. You have those gates now. You can get to these things. Oh, good hook over the wall. D-Ray caught on a ward, but no, they have to flash away. The ghost is good. Humbug wants more blood. This is the power of the Lee Sin. Let's see if BA can come to the help. Nice to be able to do a little bit more damage, but Humbug has to leave.
Yeah, Humbug respecting the fact that D-Ray had been alive a little too long. Team Secret Wales were collapsing, but that gives them a free Rift Herald. Team Secret Wales not able to sort of present arms, if you will. Histo, though, still having a look here.
Nothing's ever free here, Logan. That is the difference. Secret Wales will always be proactive. That's the difference. Straight into the TP. They're over the wall. It's a little bit of an aggressive TP too, but they're looking for everything. This could be the team fight that we've been waiting for. Pun's in the middle. The wall is looking good. Eddie's getting tongued out by on the backside, but Impact. Equalizer is good. It's on to 3. It's going to be enough as there's a huge barrage. Is it going to be enough to lock them down? Eddie locks out Impact, and now they're looking for a little bit more. Pun is in the backside doing the damage. Histo's just joining the fight. Flashes go forward. Let's see if the damage is going to be enough as Pun still very low, good shield, but no, Humbug comes in. The shutdown's even better, but now looking for a little bit more as Histo's there. Picks up Hootie, still underneath the tower. Realm Warp's going to be good, but it's not enough. They can't get out. It's a double kill. Humbug could be looking for a quadra if they're good enough, but no, it's not going to get there just in time. But still, Rift Herald was not claimed.
Team Secret Wales overstepped. They won the initial fight. They were up 5v4. They took Impact out, and they kept on chasing. His toe rooted up under the turret, goes down. Humbug gets in there, kills Pun. I mean, Team Secret Wales had that early advantage. They should have just gone, great, we've got the numbers advantage. We'll take that Rift Herald. You can't contest us. But unfortunately, their hubris got the better of them in this situation, and they thought they could take it because it is all on the line here in this upper bracket at the moment. And we see here, Impact, 3 members of Team Secret Wales, 4 go on this frontliner. But he's already got his value. He's got the equalizer down. He's forced Team Secret Wales back. And the shockwave in the back line onto 3 did so much damage that they have to be careful stepping forward. So this is where Sentinels is able to kind of be like, you know what, come into us. I'm going to root you under this tower. You are already low health. And then the interrupt on D-Ray's Realm Warp, the knock-up, beautifully timed.
And I love that it just cancelled out with the Dragon's Rage. The Realm Warp couldn't go through, but now it is the 3rd dragon of the game. Secret Wales have the control. Cyclone goes forward. Equalizer didn't hit too many. Let's see if they can hold off. This Dragon's still at 4k health. BA had to flash away. We're looking at the backside. Pun is in the thick of it. Hit with the final shot. Pun could go down here. They're going to be very careful. Humbug picks it up, and this could be Sentinel's first dragon.
It is the Sentinel's first dragon because Pun melted like paper in the face of the Sentinels just there. Where is this armor? Where is this magic resist that Cassante is so famous for? So there are limits. We have just proven it. But Team Secret Wales, they lose their tank and they go, you know what? We can't contest. We will back away. We're not going to give you any more. It's only the 3rd Drake of the game. We have so much more time, and the Rift Herald is still up. That said, the gold diff still 1k in Team Secret's favor. That said, the longer the game goes, the less it matters. So Sentinels will be happy with this, and they are first to that Rift Herald, and it looks like they're going to get this jungle objective too.
I think that's fine. I think Secret Wales are happy to take that back seat here. They say, you know what, we got the first 2 drags, we got the Void Grubs, we're happy with the first tower too. Maybe we just need to take it back, but let's watch this replay again, Logan.
Yeah, Pun goes in here, right? And Sentinels just collapse on him. There's some poke over onto Eddie and BA. And as you said here, right, Darkwings is in a 1v2 against Eddie, and he's winning. Eddie forced the Arcane Shift as Pun is just on this bot side with the Drake tanking the world. And BA flashes away from Darkwing's Shockwave, which otherwise probably could have killed them. And here's the smart call. Team Secret Wales backing away. Sentinels blinking health bars, but it is enough to win the Drake. And they're on the board with those Drakes, and they get that Rift Herald. The damage coming through from Darkwings has to be respected. It is an Orianna, no matter what you might think. These 1v1s.
Yeah, I think this just sort of shows and tells the story of that. Where was D-Ray? Where was Pun? They weren't really in this. Like, you could see that Pun was in that fight, but they were just getting shredded. So they weren't able to do what they needed to do and sort of split the fight open. But great of Secret Wales again. They've been able to say, okay, we lost our front line. It's not worth it. So they had to lose a couple objectives to it. It's not the end of the world. Like you said, gold is actually very even now. It actually has sort of reset.
Yep.
But 6 kills to 6 kills. It's any team's game right now. Sentinels are starting to come back, and I love this fire.
Yeah, that's it. Team Secret Wales got themselves a nice early advantage, but Sentinels are fighting back into this game. It's dead even across the board. 1 turret per team. Still for a pick.
It's Impact getting actually melted down too, but instead Vice Spinner not going to be able to enough, and still That is a couple TPs. Realm Orb's now coming in. Pun wants to join this party. Let's see if they can get into the backside. It is going to be Impact taken out. No Equalizer is going to save you now, but now Humbug has to ward off away back into the safety of that tier 2 because now you have to be so careful. It is a 4v5 and it is all about that pick potential from Sentinels that you have to be concerned about. But now it is Secret Whales turning the tides. Looking for a fight, but that is who he landing a hook. It's not going to be enough. Now Rahel being looked at. It is a Jhin lacking of mobility, but be careful. But no, it's only Pun taking the resonating strike. Not the end of the world.
My problem with that kill on Impact was Team Secret Whales committed so much.
Yeah.
There was Realm Warps, there was TPs, and all they got was Impact. And it wasn't like he hadn't used his ult already. He already had. He was spent. He was done. It was almost a very overvalued kill here as skirmishing has picked off.
Yeah, they're looking for something. Histo's being jumped on by Humbug, but there's a TP coming in. They know something is awry. Kicked over the wall into the Baron pit. Maybe you're start it up, but no, it's just gone. Histo's taken out. Eddie has to be careful. Great equalizer lands on 2. Pun is stuck on this wrong side of the wall. Good slows there from D-Ray, keeping them back, but Secret Whales had to take the L.
Yeah, definitely. And a fantastic timed win there for Sentinels as well. The Baron is up, so they could go for this if they want.
Shockwave is good, actually. They're looking for Pun, but he is a frontline tank. He's looking to hold his line. Rift Herald's been now charged. It's going to take a little bit more, but they did take the tier 1 too, so this is a big moment. It is Sentinels starting to turn that tide. They're now up in gold.
In the last 2 minutes, Sentinels have been able to claw back 2,000 gold. They robbed Team Secret Whales. No, sorry, they earned the 1,000 gold lead out of Team Secret Whales, and now they're 1,000 themselves up. So a great 2K switch. They've got objectives. They've cracked open that mid lane, so now they have more map control as well. Now they can roam and be aggressive here.
And the gold's on the right players here, Logan. That is the big thing. Darkwing's looking really solid. But look at Humbug. They are fierce with a 1K gold lead just on themselves. So Histo, yes, has 4 kills to 3 deaths, but 6 kills to 2 for Humbug means that they are making the plays that we've been wanting to see.
And that's what we were saying early game, right? At one stage, Humbug was 0-2-0. He's now 6-2-0. He has not died since those early 2 deaths. So Humbug on an absolute tear. Does have those second items as well. They're all starting to come through. Leandri's there on Impact. The Proto Belt for Darkwings. As we take a look at that damage, Darkwings and Impact, we expect that from the Rumble. But you don't expect Orianna to be that much farther ahead of everybody else. But where is D-Ray?
D-Ray's not really in this game right now. Look, that is the whole point of the Rise. You're looking to the late game. You're trying to hold on. But still, we will see it start to scale up a little bit more. As the champion comes online, you've got that Rod of Ages. It's almost at its 10 stacks. It's only on 7. Once we get a couple more on there, once we've got an amplifier, we'll be okay. And I think D-Ray will start being a little bit more relevant in these team fights. But again, it's Huhi starting with these fantastic hooks and able to do something with it. But now Baron and Dragon are up for grabs.
And Humbug has already started that Dragon. As Sentinels were forcing Team Secret Whales up into that mid lane, Humbug has started the 4th Drake of the game. Team Secret Whales, they don't want to let this one go lying down. Pun walking forward into everything.
And it's looking good. It's a 2K health. Equalizer drops, but History wants to be there. But no, it is going to be taken. Humbug is able to lock that down. Curtain call has been dropped. Pun is low. Equalizer. Oh, my Lord. It's all too much. Humbug's picking up another kill. They've gone godlike. BA, it's a double kill for Humbug. They're looking strong. Maybe making this the triple. Trying to go into the clone. The Cyclone's not going to be enough. Hook still lands, but no. Darkwing locks down the kill. But it is 4 members tanking a tier 2. And they're just going to leave with the victory there.
They get the Drake. They get the team fight. Sentinels nearly 3,000 gold ahead of Team Secret Whales now as Eddie goes for something, clips them, but it's not enough to take them out. Sentinels going to take this Baron now as Humbug's gold lead has extended out to 2K. Darkwing's out to 1.2. That's your mid laner. That's your jungler. They're the ones you want ahead.
That's it. And look, this Baron's already at 7K health, so it's going to be melted down even faster once again. I think this is just free. Histo's not on the board for the Smite fight. Yeah, consolation prize. They took the tier 1, but Baron at 24 minutes is pretty damn good.
Look, it's no T1 Baron, but it's still a pretty quick Baron. You do love to see it. As we go back to this fight around the Drake, the equalizer from Impact onto 3+ members, and it is burning them down. Pun, I think he was overconfident. He stepped right into 5 of Sentinels, and they went, all right, we'll start burning you down. And the rest of Team Secret Whales weren't ready to follow up. They weren't ready to take advantage of the focus here. There's D-Ray. He tries to get something done on the back end around this tier 2, but it's just, he doesn't have that damage yet. He's only just completed his 2nd item. Rise really comes on that 3rd item. And the way Sentinels are playing right now, Pike, I'll be surprised if we get there.
Look, I think Sentinels are looking real sharp right now. 10 kills to 7. They've got a 2.8k gold lead. They're looking good. They're starting to stack those dragons. This is where the Dragon's Egg is so important in this mid to late. And having 2 Hextech dragons means there's a little bit of extra shocks, a little bit of movement is going to be so good. But now it is on Secret Whales. They've got to take that back seat. How do they start pushing forward a little bit more? Can they hold that line and scale to where D-Ray can actually have that impact we wanted to see?
Yeah, and the impact that I'm seeing is impact. His equalizers, whether they're wave clears, whether they're zoning ults, they're actually doing a great job, right? A couple of first ones in those 1v1 situations, but now that we're in the team fighting situation, Impact knows how to use that equalizer. He's getting so much value out of it, and it breaks Team Secret Whales apart, right? They have to respect that damage, otherwise they will get cooked in those back lines. Sentinels, though, they're on this bot side. They're pushing for this tier 2. They're waiting in this push if someone from Team Secret Whales oversteps, and it could be D-Ray.
It is smart. Secret Whales have started to move forward, and they've identified that they've got the Baron buff. You need to somehow answer it. He's looking for the hook. It is just going to go wide. Good space. And there's the Realm Orbs coming in. Hook's down, so the cooldown's good. They're not right on top of them. Is it going to be enough as they try to get some damage off? Curtain Call gets summoned. Is it going to be good? Cyclone's good. It's Eddie picking up the kill, and they take the one, and they say, let's leave it at that.
I was questioning that Realm Warp. They brought 3 members straight into the ultimate of who he opened with a silence onto them, and I was like, surely they're done for. But no, Team Secret Whales are able to Realm Warp aggressively right into the middle of Sentinels and take that kill. Extremely high value, great productivity out of D-Ray to make that call. And that's not one of those set plays. You have to make that call on the snap. Darkwings, though, 1, 2, and 6, another 20 seconds off the rip. So Team Secret Whales have to take advantage now.
That's a little bit of the bounty gold, right? Like, they picked up one of the strongest players in the game right now. Like, it is Darkwing. It is going to be Humbug. They are running this show. Take them out, and you start to take the show into your own hands. So it is now Secret Whales trying to make something. Look at that gold graph. We're on a roller coaster of a game, Logan, once again. And if this doesn't remind you of the LCP, I don't know what does.
At 18 kills in 26 minutes, I'm still feeling a little, LCP, we're so used to 1 kill a minute at least. Yeah. This is the LCP versus LCS, right? They're 2 different styles of play meeting here at EWC 2026, and it's interesting to see how they react with one another, right? It's not like, oh, it's that champion, I know how to beat that. No, it's a player I don't know how to walk into on that champion. They might have different plays, which we saw out of Pun. He was nearly 1v1ing Impact, but something brewing.
And he has to be careful here. Same with D-Ray and Pun. They're on the wrong side of the wall. We have seen Sentinels living inside their jungle too, so you got to be very careful because they do have that snap catch play. One bad hook could spell disaster for Secret Whales, or maybe I say one good hook. But still, we need to see Secret Whales being a little bit smarter, controlling the vision state, because Sentinels are just all over them.
Huhi is looking for this hook. Pun is doing a great job standing right in front of Huhi, right? Because you don't want to hook Cassante. That's the worst possible target. So Pun doing a great job. Gets on Huhi.
Back. Pun is there. Good flash comes out, misses out the hook, but that's a 5-minute cooldown once again, and sending out the barrage just to trim the wave a little bit, but still, now it has to be careful. The items are coming online. We're still seeing very close. We're getting towards that IE, so Jin's getting closer and closer to that 50% crit, but with the Ghost Blade, it's going to mean a lot. The damage is there. Dragon is up. This is the big thing, and the control from Sentinels is already out, but look at Teams of Secret. They're just sitting at this tier 2. Equalizer gets dropped early. It's hitting 3, so a lot of damage. Pun on the wrong side could get caught here. The front line is obliterated, Logan.
And that's that zoning ultimate coming at Impact we were talking about earlier. He used that Equalizer to zone the rest of Team Secret Whales away, and then they're like, you know what? We will hook Pun here today because it's a 5v1. You could be the tankiest top laner in the world. You will not survive that on your own. So a fantastic play from Sentinels there, and great timing. That Drake is up. They have that numbers advantage, and Team Secret Whales with no front line surely cannot contest this. And I was going to talk about how Humbug chased Hiso out of his own jungle and forced that ultimate out of him too. So Hiso in no place to contest this one. A really great minute there coming out of the Sentinels from the LCS. I'm loving seeing this intelligent gameplay.
Yeah, look, it really is. You're right, is they're playing really smart to how strong the players are. That is the difference between a good and a great team. Still, both these teams are great. They're just putting on a different performance. And it's nice to see Secret Whales, they're trying to claw back what they can. They're trying to get those picks. They're trying to mitigate those losses. But Sentinels doing a fantastic job. They're really accelerating this game. They're on soul point. They've got all 3 Hex Drag souls right now, and they're feeling pretty strong. So it now comes down to how big is their pick potential, because Baron up in 10 seconds.
I was about to say, right, the second Baron is about to occur, but it didn't feel like they got too much value out of that first Baron.
Yeah.
So Sentinels have to be looking to get something more off of this second one if they're able to secure it. But Team Secret Whales, they're primed and ready to go. Almost every single ultimate is up. Almost every single summoner spell is up. But the same can be said for Sentinels. The next fight is going to be a big one wherever they make it happen. 3 Hextech Drakes for Sentinels. Their poke stings. A mountain and a infernal there, the Team Secret Whales. So a little extra damage, but a little extra resilience. So the Cassante can stand a bit taller, a bit longer. But in front of Sentinels, it doesn't feel like it.
And look at the vision control. Not only is it traps, but it is pink wards everywhere. And they are massive, and they're doing so much away. But there's a little barrage going forward. It doesn't really hit its mark. And Huhi just controlling this state. Yeah, you pulled it in, but it's Pun getting hit with the rocket grab. Let's see if Histo's still going to be the target. Has to dash away, but it is this control. They have had to back off. The pressure from Secret Whales was enough.
Yeah, they backed off, but D-Ray wasn't there. He just completed his 3rd item, so they were just delaying. They needed D-Ray to get there. He's got his 3rd item online, so now they can fight. They can contest these objectives in a serious way. But Sentinels, they're still on the Baron. Team Secret Whales don't know this is happening right now. The rest of Sentinels is zoning them away. They have to move in.
Look, this is it. It's only Humbug doing the Baron, so it's a bit of a different story. Yeah, you have a good bit of healing. You have that Sun to Sky. You have Death's Dance. You got an Eclipse as well on Humbug, so you are feeling really strong. But it's not often a Lee Sin can solo a Baron, even at 30 minutes. So we'll have to see as the damage is still good. Now the rest is coming through. Rahel's now here. Darkwings is joining. That's your damage dealers. Where is Secret Whales? They're not even looking as they're trying to get the snipe. The barrage doesn't land, and it is second Baron heading over to Sentinels.
Beautifully played by Sentinels there. They gate-kept Team Secret Whales so effectively, to the point that Team Secret Whales thought they were just in contention around mid-lane priority. They had to be aware that Humbug was missing, or at least concerned about it. You saw his toe. He was wrapping around that red buff, but a ward spotted him out, so he had to back away. Huhi playing the bouncer there. So Team Secret Whales, they pushed in that mid lane. They tried to chip down that tier 2 turret, but Sentinels right now feeling comfortable. They have all the advantage, and that IE, that 3rd item for Rahel, now completed as well. And look at the damage Eddie is doing. He is trying as hard as he possibly can to carry Team Secret Whales through these fights, but the next 4 damage dealers are all Sentinels.
Yeah, and it's just a little bit rough. Histo had a great start to the early of the game, but now it's just starting to fall off. He's been targeted. He had a big mark on his back, and it was Sentinel saying, we can hit that mark. To see if they're going to start moving forward. Histo needs to start making those aggressive plays and getting into these pits.
It really reminds me of the draft, though. They did their homework and they banned Histo's top 2 junglers. He is the LCP MVP, right? He has the most impact. He's so dynamic. He's such a playmaker that they put him onto something that he's less practiced on, less comfortable on here in this BO1, and it feels like the results are showing.
Another Realm Warp as Histo's the only one that's taking. His Cyclone goes on to 3. It's going to be enough. Histo just getting pulled back. Rahel picks up the kill. The curtains drop. Equalizer drops as well. Eddie's just too low. Has to be careful. D-Ray's now starting to do damage, but it's going to be enough as they're now diving the tier 3. You have to be so careful because the Baron empowered makes it so much harder, but still another barrage hits and it forces Rahel to back off, and that's a big chunkier damage now too, Logan.
Great defense from Team Secret Whales. Pun was frontlining as they tried to escape, trying to stop a couple of these recalls, preventing Sentinels from pushing any further with this Baron empowered wave they had there. But yeah, Histo, the only one in that Realm Warp, did open with the Cyclone, but it took him too long because he hit him with his silence immediately.
Where was Pun? Pun needed to take the Realm Warp too. I think they were just out of position. You can see Pun is there saying, where are we going? What's the go? But they lose the tower, and now they said, okay, they're just going to siege us here. Maybe we need to be a little bit faster on these plays. But I think they're just worried about Huhi.
Oh, Pun just missed it.
Pun missed it.
Just missed it. And then we see Impact come here as well. Impact's positioning phenomenal. Gets that equalizer right across the back line, but we're back in live and we're fighting again.
Yeah, Pun looking for a little bit of fire, but does get hit with a hook. But Humbug now has a
GA.
Yeah, it's a GA, like, how do you kill this Lee Sin now? It's just not possible. You gotta be so careful. This is the Dragon fight. This is where both teams need to contest. Is it going to be Soul heading for Sentinels, or does Secret Wales deny it once more? It's a lot of damage coming out. Humbug is still in the pit. Seeing if Fun can do a little bit more. Equalizer is a lot of damage.
Eddie.
Where did Eddie go? There's just no place to go. His toe has got the pops to GA. Pun now dead too. Secret Wales are crumbling under the damage. The curtain call lands. Darkwing picks up his toe, and Secret Wales are just sent packing in game one.
Yeah, and D-Ray's on the run. He's on the bottom side of the rift. TPs have been committed from Sentinels. They're trying to crack this base open right now. They're trying to stop D-Ray from getting back to the base.
Yeah.
Humbug is onto him. Gets the flash.
Yeah, look, and D-Ray has to be so careful because it is just going to be Sentinels charging through mid. But now D-Ray needs to be so careful. He can clear a wave, but is it enough to clear everything? You've got 4 members charging through. Sentinels are locking out this game, and they are very happy to take the first game here at EWC on B-Stream. Sentinels showing up.
Sentinels take their best of 1 against Team Secret Wales. They stay in the upper bracket. They will not go down to that lower bracket. They're resilient. They were behind from the front, but then Humbug just was everywhere. He went legendary, and then they also played through Darkwings beautifully. Rahel was everywhere. Huhi roaming for these hooks, threatening everybody from Team Secret Wales. Pun, yes, he was frontlining. He was trying to prevent them getting through, but he still melts in the face of 5.
And that's the big thing, right? It is really D-Ray taking in these late game carries and just isn't able to get to the late game. So I think we need to see a little bit more from Secret Wales as they go down into that lower bracket. But there it is, Sentinels on your stage. The first winners on B Stream. Let's send it back to the desk as they get ready to break down that game.
Thank you very much, guys. Fantastic cast on that first one. And Sentinels with the big win here on this first one. You know, I was pretty adamant. I thought Team Secret Wales would come in and just win this one pretty easily. But they did not have the best game. And Sentinels just very calm the whole way through. Very calm, collected, great play, honestly, throughout this one. Very consistent. I was also surprised to see Hambach, start off with a 0-2. And then just go 8-2 and really just kind of turn on the jets on that Lee Sin. That was really good to see him kind of settle things down and play his game. It looks like all the guys on Sentinels looked very calm and were playing quite well today.
Yeah, it was a really nice organized. It's like early game, these competitions, like they start, like as we said, like I think the competition, also how they play the styles, like they would love to go 30-minute plus, like because they are playing against these Karma and Rise, like those champions will fall off, like especially you're playing Orianna, and also you have a Jin Bleeds and also Lee Sin as well. But they do have a they showed off like all the momentum there. Like they did get the first Drake, the second Drake, even third Drake. They could have gone for it. Like even they should have got more Drake control, but instead like there was some random dash actually happening in the middle of the game. Like that actually makes the delay for the Secret Wales and Sentinels. I think they punished really good. Like when they make a mistake, like they play for pick, they play for side lane, they play for the waves. I think that was a really good game plan.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those games that's frustrating to look back on for Team Secret Wales, because it's like when they were losing members randomly and getting picked off, it's like those deaths in the moment don't feel bad, but then it's like you go look back in review, it's like, oh, that lost us like a minute and a half of time. And then like Dragon control around Baron, right? And it's a shame because, yeah, the start wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. Honestly, I thought that Team Secret had a good start, but they weren't quite able to play their consistent games. I feel like they have this reputation of starting off pretty well, but having trouble kind of ending and closing out the game. I don't even really feel like in this first one that they were in a position, like a leading position, to where they were like, okay, we should try to close this game out. Like it was very, very close through the early and mid. And, there were some swings and gold back and forth. But honestly, after that, it was just a slow climb for Sentinels. So absolutely fantastic start for them in this one. A big win in the best of one. They're going to, try to win one more and make it out of the group. That's going to be pretty interesting to see. Let's take a look at some of the highlights we did have from this game, if you guys did miss it, as we do go ahead and break down exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first blood. Like, this is like how, like Wukong actually got level 6. It's so huge. Like, it's so early. And Lee Sin, he's like actually was so down EXP because like he was not getting anything like outside of the map. Like especially Wukong was doing the Soul and Drake. They didn't have a mid prio, bot prio. Meanwhile, Lee Sin just was looking for top play. And like around mid, like all these skirmishes wasn't actually favored for Sentinels, which is like it's really good for that's how you want to play with the Rise, especially just combining with the Rise with Kong and playing for 2v2. I think this is like where actually Sentinel, like go for more looking for the more skirmishes.
Yeah, and I think playing around the top side when you got the Rumble makes sense. It's quite funny because in NA, this matchup, the Cassante into Rumble, oftentimes it's just really Cassante favored. I'm not sure how it goes in the LCK for you guys. I'd imagine it's the other way around, but even though he was getting beat up on a little bit early on, just the level of impact that one equalizer can have against what is moderately immobile champions can really make the difference there, and it did.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely do kind of ban, like, if you want to be more impactful in the game, like with the Rumble, especially against the Cassante, because he's one of the best answer against the Rumble. And I really like the Sentinel setup here. Like, meanwhile, they're doing Drake, they intentionally opened the banana burst, the card burst, and they exactly know, like, they want to turn right away with the Rumble ultimate, just come down, like, with the equalizer, come down, just go in as a together, as a whole team. And this is like how they get Baron, like, after this right play. And it's like, after that, like, the sieging is so easy, just pressing one ulti, Orianna ulti, Blitzcrank hook, put the pressure. They can't do anything.
Yeah, like having control first when you're the Blitzcrank team is just infinitely scarier than having to walk in with the Blitzcrank, right? And then obviously on sieges as well, it's the exact same thing. Any vision pocket, try to go in, like even Blitzcrank, weirdly, like he's a decent peeler. Like you wouldn't think so, but just to knock up the silence, it's a decent amount of burst damage. Obviously the CC is very useful, especially when you're sending in just a lone Wukong in the backline.
Yeah, felt very good for the side of Sentinels. We get a little golf clap there from Hampok, but Impact and Huhi absolutely very happy. Even Rahel, big smile on his face. Not the most emotive player, but nice to see some of that early on. And Sentinels, absolutely big deserve here on this first win. You were talking about it, Huni, while we were watching. It felt like their comp was pretty easy to play, especially from ahead, where it's like, okay, you guys can approach us. You're going to get hooked. You're going to get Rumble ulted. You're going to get Orianna zoning with the ball. And Rahel always in a really good position. That's one thing that struck me, is that he knew exactly what his job was, had a very nice front line, tons of damage in the comp, and he's like, even if I'm not in the front line doing oodles and boodles of damage, I can just sit all the way back and just do a great job there. But guys, we do have the interview ready on stage now with Kitty and Huhi, so take it away, Kitty.
Hello, everyone. This is Kitty for the post-game interview between Sentinels and Team Secret. By my side, Huhi. So, welcome to Paris. Bonjour. I heard you're back home, so how are you feeling about the Paris crowd?
It feels amazing. I think that they're always like really supportive and really loud, so it's really fun to play in front of like a big crowd. And yeah, I think coming back to here where I was born, it feels amazing to be able to play again.
And of course, you won, so you will be going into the upper bracket alongside Sentinels. This year, we have a bit of a different format where we have a lot of teams. So, which team are you looking forward to verse the most? Because this is one of the biggest internationals we have this year.
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of LCK or LPL teams I'm excited to verse. I think our next opponent is going to be Gen G, so that's where my head is at. I'm really excited to verse them. It's been a while to play versus Ruler again. So I'm really excited to play, especially with Rahel, versing the first like kind of Asian team. So it's going to be really fun.
Since your next matchup is going to be Gen G, I want to talk about that bot lane 2v2. So Ruler and Duro. What do you think is going to be the main thing that you're looking out for when you verse these two players?
I think Gen G in general doesn't really have that big of a weakness. They all are really strong laners, and their jungler is really strong too. So I think for us, we're more so focused on not being nervous, not being rushed as well, because we're all humans. We know that they're going to make mistakes. So however the game turns out, I think we're always going to have an opportunity to win the game. So I think patience is going to be the key.
Since you're also local in Paris, can you please say something in Paris or in French to our crowd as well?
Bonjour, je suis né en France, à Paris, mais j'ai oublié beaucoup de mots. So my French is a bit rocky, but I'm kind of getting back to it as I'm being here. So I'm really excited to play here. And yeah, thank you for always cheering for us.
Thank you so much for the interview, and we'll see you for the next round.
Thank you so much, Katie, for that awesome interview. Hui, very friendly, very modest as well. Just really happy to be here, and just really happy that things are going well, obviously. And a native of born here, actually, in France. So pretty cool to see that he was able to speak for some French for the local audience as well, which we do have tons of people here that even grouped up to watch his interview here on the secondary stage. So pretty cool to see. Shout outs to Genji from Hui as well, just talking about how, you know, they're going to approach that matchup where I like it, where it's like, we're all human. They are too. They're going to make mistakes. We just got to be ready to pounce on those mistakes. And, you know, we can take the win. And honestly, a very good start for Sentinels. And we talked about it at the top of the day, where it's like any team can really prove us wrong and come in here and have a really good tournament. I think that Sentinels didn't have a lot of hope behind them coming into this one from some of the fans, but absolutely a team to look out for now. But guys, we are done for now on the desk. We're going to take a quick break and come back for the second match of the day. Don't go anywhere.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
This ain't no regular thing. I came for the ring, you know what I mean. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion. He thinks he can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing but go!
Tyler 1, you're done.
Raw energy. Blow the house down.
Hello and welcome back to EWC 2026 here for League of Legends on the secondary stage. We are moving into our second best of one of the day. It is going to be BLG up against movie star Koi. And already the fans have grouped up here right outside. You can see there's a big horde of them just waiting for this game and tons of cheers, especially as BLG did take the stage. How are you guys feeling about this matchup?
Yeah, it's a, like, little bit of the favor, I would say, for BLG. Like, they even
little bit.
There's a lot, people. So, just a little bit more. Just a little more.
I thought they were going to break out into the Jio chant straight away.
Yeah.
They'll probably do it as we go into game, I'm sure. But yeah, definitely a slight favorite here at this stage. But I think it's still, nonetheless, I don't think you can turn your nose up at this MKOI team. They are very aggressive. They are all playmakers, actually, in their own right. And don't forget, this is a mid laner in Jojo who Knight, in his own right, effectively said, yeah, I had to sit up in my chair to lane versus him. So,
yeah.
Again, this is going to be an interesting matchup just because, again, I think they have very, very similar strengths. And the one specific strength in Bin up in the top side, it was a little bit absent a lot of MSI this tournament. So if he has a similar performance today and it's best of one, even against a player like Merwin, who is known to have very high ceilings, I think the games could get a little bit weird from the BLG perspective.
I mean, 100%, because like we also saw from like MSI, like BLG, they dropped the game, right? Like they drop the game sometimes. They drop the series by that. Like they definitely know how to drop the game. So this is also BO1. Like honestly, this is like really hard to guess it. Like it's really unpredictable, but that means like I think the Movistar Koi has a pretty good chance, especially if they prep really well, like the surprise, they can make a surprise for it, especially if they can make a surprise to BLG.
That's where they have to shine, though, because BLG were the team at MSI who had all of the really funky picks, like the Talia bot, the Vel'Koz bot, right? These picks that, effectively, no one else showed at the tournament. So they were really in their bag with the Majors bot lane. And again, really can't stress this enough. On the opposite side, MKOI were like very good at playing the traditional game. We have not actually had the opportunity to see them play this very specific style that BLG, as far as MSI was concerned, were like the first team to really kind of show that it felt like they'd mastered what was going on this patch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, one of the big shining lights of BLG was Shun, actually, at the tournament. I think that he has been very consistent and very dominant as well. I feel like a lot of MSI was kind of ruled by the junglers, and we did see, for better or for worse, teams fall or rise based on how their jungler did perform. And I'm sure that he's going to be coming in here and trying to, once again, lead the squad. And tons of talent on the squad of BLG, tons of fans here for them, especially up against Koi here in France, here in Paris. But I do think that, again, everything we've said still remains true. It's a best of one. BLG just coming off of a best of 5 loss to HLE over at MSI in the finals. Definitely a very strong team, but even my expectations for the first best of one were kind of inverted, with Sentinels taking that one down. I would not be surprised if Koi take this, although I do not have them as the favorites.
I mean, honestly, if we talk about like the basic fundamental, we can't like say like Koi is a better team. It's just like the basic fundamental and the experience of the international, how many times they play the game, just play the game, like for, last week, the MSI, like for BLG, they get some favor.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of the narrative around this MKOI team is just how much of it is stuck together for the last few years. BLG's core is almost identical to 2023. Like, this is one of the longest lasting cores in the world, right? Like, the only other teams that really rival the tenor are teams like, T1, a fair amount of the Gen G lineup. Like, they've been playing for a long time together. So I think, again, that experience of, okay, we've lost together, they know how to win together and they know how to bounce back. And that's going to be a difficult for Koi to overcome.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. And just seeing all the players here from the side of Koi, it's definitely going to be an uphill battle, but I do think that absolutely they can take it. As Elyoya in the jungle, definitely going to be something to look out for. We got word as well that it's Alvaro's birthday. So going to be interested to see how he plays on his birthday. Or maybe it was yesterday. Not 100% sure.
Yeah,
I think it is today.
It is today.
Is what Jake was saying. But either way, you know, maybe just feeling a little bit extra happiness. And Super and Alvaro definitely a strong bottom lane in their own right.
Yeah, I mean, to order to get some advantage from the Movistar Koi, it has to be just, it's not going to be easy. The Supion has to get some advantage from the mid lane through that. And on top of that, as like Elyoya will help him out and then try to, like, if it's like unleashed from the mid lane and just like covered up top side, like just making like really active play on the like both sides of the map. And then also this, you know, the playing around objective, like all these skirmishes. I think that's going to be real key for today.
It absolutely will be, and thank you to you guys for breaking it down as we do head into this matchup. And we're going to have, of course, if you did miss it, BLG up against Movistar Koi. And, of course, as we move into draft, we already saw that our first best of one brought some, I'd say, pretty straightforward stuff. You know, it wasn't really pulling out the weird stuff. No Vel'Koz bot, no Kleds yet. So maybe some more fun to be held in store for us as we do move into this draft. But I think if you're BLG, probably just keep it, you know, pretty similar, pretty safe. But maybe we see something interesting on the side of Koi as we do move into this one. But yeah, thank you so much, Huni and Jamada, as we are going to be moving into the cast right now.
Thank you, Valdez. Much appreciated as we get ready for this game number 2. Now, I'm joined with a new friendly face. It is Pike, myself, and we got Initialize here joining the cast.
Oh, I am so excited to be here. This is going to be so much fun. Welcome to Paris, everyone. I am buzzing, to say the least of it. I'm going into a game with MKOI coming into the Lion's Den here in Paris. This is enemy territory of a Spanish organization. They're going to be going up against BLG of all teams as well. MSI finalists. Going to be very upset about their loss to HLE. And the first stand winners. Talk about a baptism by fire.
I'm not even sure if it's a baptism at this point. It's like you're just getting dunked in oil and just hoping for the best, because it's going to be rough. I feel like you sort of mentioned the Lion's Den. We have Lion here, and you know what? That den's still pretty scary. This is a different den altogether. I think we're going back in time, because this might even be the catacombs at this point, because we're here in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be scary.
Very good.
But still. What are you hoping to see her, though? It could be an interesting one, because we think it's going to be stock standard. It's a best of one still. So
yeah.
You think it's going to be a bit more of a traditional sort of game, or are we going to see those majors as we love to see? Rob?
Considering what we saw at MSI from BLG specifically, obviously Valdez talked about that Vel'Koz bot. Well, who was playing it? That was, in fact, Viper. And that, for me, screams a possibility in a best of one. If you're looking at the players that would potentially be the ones to pull out something a bit spicy, Mirwin on the top side, always been a little bit of a dark magician, a bit of a chef. Viper right now, again, we are seeing a bit of a resurgence of that 2018 style of meta, where those awesome dudes, not just AD carries, awesome dudes in the bot lane coming back. And for my money, and I think a lot of people's money, for those who were watching League of Legends for nearly a decade now, oh my lord, 2018 was nearly a decade ago. That's a horrible thought. Viper was the best mage bot player. He was the best awesome dudes meta player. And that is great news for BLG, especially considering I think Viper in general has been good this year. Has he been the best AD carry in the world on form? I think not, and I think that's a pretty reasonable statement. But at MSI, with those mages coming out of the back pocket, he was on a much better level of form. And that could be a little bit nerve-wracking for poor MKOI here coming into what is going to be a very serious match.
And when I think about that side too as well, we talked about BLG, like they were pipped at the post. Game 5 at MSI. If I was them, I'd be coming into EWC with a fire in my belly. I feel for this team here. I feel for MKOI, because they're the first receiving end of absolute just atrocities I'm expecting on the rip. As we get to the draft, it's already cleaned up. Bans come through, but Cassiopeia, Nautilus locked in here as well. But then we also got the Bard being picked up too.
We have, of course, Bard has been probably the highest priority bot laner outside of the Camille over the last little while. I will also note for BLG, Viper plays the Cassiopeia, especially if you lock in something that would love to be mobile like an Ezreal, throw down a miasma, add in a Nautilus hook. It can be a bad time. Also, Bard hates it because magical journeys get a lot harder when you're stuck on that W from the Cassiopeia. The other person, of course, it could be is Knight. who was once named Orochimaru. He was a Cassiopeia one-trick before he got into pro, so not a great to give that champion to either.
No, but now that Ezreal being picked up, we saw last game. It did do a lot of damage. It just takes a little bit of time to come online. Please lock in Fizz.
We've been hearing
I am a one-trick Fizz, and I
No,
love it.
all right,
Okay,
well.
let's not worry about it. Let's not worry about it. But now, we're seeing the Anivia Tilia. They're just scrolling through. They're showing off a couple little champs that we could expect to see. I like the Sylas here. I think it's going to go really good, especially with the Petrifying Gaze. You have the Nautilus too. You're going to get that depth charge. It's going to be really nice. So I think this is a good pick. Whether it goes well into Cassiopeia is a different story, but they're looking at the Vi now, so maybe they're switching it up.
Yeah, Yoya, long-time Vi player. You pair that up with the Bard, your ability to jump on someone from miles away, come out with a magical journey somewhere, can be pretty damn scary. We have seen a lot of Nefiri into Vi, because Vi goes in with the R, you press W, and you realize it's not worked out so well.
Yeah, and now you're caught in a sort of a bad spot, as if you're going too deep, you're going to be caught between the team, and that's a rock and a hard place, if you ask me. But
Some 21 song is what it is.
Oh, my God. But then it all comes down to the pursuit. If you are going to go a little bit further, if you can get a reset, brilliant. You can keep going.
Okay.
So I do like the Ambassador being picked up here. Strong top laner, going to go well into those tanks, but you can sort of fight back with a little bit more bruises too. So I like this Ambassador. I'm starting to see the picture for this team.
I mean, theoretically, a flex into the jungle, but the Ambassador jungle really has been a niche pick that's kind of fallen away a little bit. Since the changes to the ultimate in particular, it just gets that bit more dodgeable. Also, frankly, it denies it here from the Vi, because Vi R means the Ambassador R just doesn't miss. You just point and click where the Vi went in to begin with. So preventing that combination, I think, is probably pretty wise. Bin put a lot of time to get good at the Ambassador, was pretty mediocre at it when it first released. Has kind of worked his way up to be genuinely dangerous on it. So that is my suspicion. And with the Renekton ban, which has always been Ambassador's #1 villain in the top side, get rid of it and you feel a lot happier. And again, we have started to see a lot of this pick top on 3, double ban to protect it, and see what they've got cooking on the other side.
Yeah, that's it. And now the Nefiri ban coming through too.
That
They
makes
hovered
sense.
over it. They're like, all right, we just don't want to deal with that. There's no smoke without fire, so you know what? Get rid of the fire.
I mean,
But
both
now-
would have been fine. So, yeah, you're like, do you want the Nefiri? Do you want the Ambassador? We've got the Ambassador.
But I'm surprised that I'm not potentially seeing. Oreo now has been banned out, so it's been an interesting one with the Vi pick too. So it's been interesting, but now the Shyvana as well.
Yes, that is specifically against Mirwood. You might be surprised on that one, because again, he's been playing a fair amount of the Shyvana top. It's been a bit of a pocket pick. So just having done their homework, and again, it's been a little while since we've seen MCOY. Of course, they weren't at MSI. They managed to get here by taking out GX in the LEC. It was a close run thing, but they have slipped in as another one of those European seeds here at EWC in 2026, and they'll be wanting to get some points on the board, because of course the club championship alongside just League of Legends here as well, there's a lot on the line for not just teams here, but for the wider tournament as well. And for a team like BLG, right, they have got to be one of the favorites, right? They'll be a little bit upset about MSI, and I think despite the very short turnaround, again, MSI was only a few days ago, I have no doubt they'll be coming in a little angry, and Shun is hovering a Lee Sin, and I fear that might be a touch.
Look, should on the Lee Sin, regardless. At BLG, they're known for this sort of play, so I love this lock-in. Now it's all about what can you sort of pick into this top side. You've already got the Vi up against it. What is that going to look like? And Bex being picked up, insta-locked here for JoJo. That is interesting, because it just cancels out any interactions.
I'm also remembering that once upon a time, Mirwin used to play tank Vex top. There is a very real world where we get the Anivia mid and the Vex top. I'm just saying it's been done before by Mirwin. It's been a hot minute, but I want to say last year possibly. That was when we saw that. So just keep your eye on where that gets flexed. Last pick now left for Knight. And that was something we didn't see at MSI Finals. They were making Knight blind pick a little bit. And as a result, he is going to get the Akali. They're going to flex that Cassiopeia bot. And I am aware that you've given another Dash champion for the Vex to start stacking that passive. But it's a very squishy composition, and Knight's Akali is among the very best in the world.
Oh, and it's always, every single region you see, it's that Akali in the bot side at 15 minutes. It's always a solo bolo. No matter where you are in the world, it happens. But I'm loving this draft coming through. It is the Vex top now.
Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. There we go.
Break it down more. Like, it's going to be so hard for this investor to get anywhere near them.
Well, exactly. Stack up super, super fast. And the last time Mirwin was doing this was with a tank build. And so it just became incredibly obnoxious. It wasn't about the burst. It was about being able to get in and brawl and just deny something like the Ambassador her usual trading patterns. Because Every time Ambassador presses a skill button, she wants to use that Drakehound step, that passive. If you do that, Vex goes, fantastic, more fears. And that gets really, really interesting. And the question will be, for BLG, how much prep do they have into a Vex top? And my suspicion will be not a lot.
Who has really any interactions in
Some LEC teams. Yeah, that's about it from a year ago.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what it's actually going to really look like, because it's going to be very hard. Like, it's so much range too. You got to remember, it's the capitalization as well. You get that rush, you can land it from so far away, straight on down the line. If this Vice catches someone in the river, you're there.
I mean, all aboard the Vex Express, right? You get on that train and you keep rolling, because Vial into Vexel, you're absolutely right. That CC chain is wild. It's going to be a very fun matchup, and I think we hit to these team fights. The amount of execution, the amount of dive is really, really high. And I want to bring to you a concept that we, with our LPL enjoyers, call full contact team fighting. And that basically means, as we do head onto the Rift here for our second game today here at EWC 2026, B-Stream specifically.
Love it. B-Stream, best stream, baby.
Absolutely. Well, I'm here. Of course it is. Come on now.
That's exactly right.
Not in any way arrogant or overconfident. I'm a humble man.
Now, I want to talk to you about these teams right now.
Yes.
Lay out for the folks at home, what are the true identities? Where do these teams want to be looking to get those advantages?
That's going to be a little interesting, isn't it? Because I think for BLG on the whole, they want Shunanon on the map, active, and they play towards topside so heavily. Knight, on average, is putting on something like 7 kills a game, on average. This man has been the best performing player in the world, pretty much universally agreed. He has been unreal of late. And of course, been on the Ambess, you get him snowballing. That'll be great news. I think for the side of MKOI, yeah, he got super on the Ezreal, so talented on that, but it'll be looking to get Yoya on this vibe rolling. He is the go button. He is the engine for MKOI. Come what may. Been the team captain for ages. He's going to want to lead the way here. And again, you're up against Shunanon on the other side, and that's going to be where my eyes turn for sure. And I suspect you might be thinking something a little similar.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think you're right. It's that top side where the damage is going to be. It's going to be so hard to be able to do too much. But I'm also looking at just the little macro interactions that you love to see with these champions is when you do see, particularly like a Barter or Vi wanting to get in, the miasma is just so hard to work through. So it's just one of these questions of where do you start to put that attention? Because you're right, Vipers might be taking a little bit of a back seat early on when you're playing the Cassiopeia. You want us to scale up, get a couple items on your sort of your belt, and then it's really on, I feel, Knight to be able to make these moves and rotate around the map. I think they're going to be pairing up really well with Shun and saying, okay, where do we go? It's a little bit of a scuffle already. This is the level 3 gank that I wanted in game 1, but I didn't get.
You had an attempt here, and again, the Lee Sin attempt to make things happen. Doesn't quite get that much there. It's only the heal really burned from Alvaro, but still good. There's the hook. Though, and now maybe this gets a bit spicy. Super has Alvaro will be flashing for it. Another they're up, and there's more! Twin Fang in Viper on the Cassiopeia Serpent. Sinks the fangs deep.
Absolutely disgusting. You do not want to find these snakes in these bushes. They will chomp hard.
You know better than most. I mean, you're the Australian here.
Yeah, that's right. I'm no stranger to snakes in my backyard, but that's okay. But still, Cassiopeia landing that first blood. Viper looking so strong already, getting these little bit of items on the board too, as they're going to look for it back relatively soon. But still, Super getting taken out this early. They're going to be taking that back foot, and we were really hoping them to be a big damage dealer.
We really were, and the more we're looking at this comp as well, we came in a little bit hot and heavy there with some fun picks, particularly from MKOI at the end of that draft. But I'm looking at this draft a little bit more, and you're seeing, actually, theoretically, there's Prio in a lot of lanes. Knight's about to bait check someone.
Has to flash into the but they're trying to hold on a little bit longer. Jojo has to flash too. On looking for more. They go down into the egg. Let's see if they can take it out. As On still low. Nice little pick up. Alvaro locking it down. But now it's still 3v1. TP was used to get out of there, but now they've slowed it down.
Nice pick up there from MKOI. It got pretty spicy. You got the egg off Jojo, but they couldn't commit as Alvaro on that reset gets over. Raptors are up. We're fighting over it. Shun is here, though. Knight's going to have to reset. This will be a smite fight at best for BLG.
Yeah, 2v1. Like, Shun has to be a little bit careful here, but once abilities are used and still able to lock a little bit more, taking a couple little chickens, not the end of the world.
Jojo teleports back in, gets the stun. Knight does have his back in drop. He goes in!
Oh, my God.
What are we doing?
Solo bowler, but nice return. Pick up there by Shun, able to capitalize.
Yeah, that one got a little bit worse for wear, but you do bring down Jojo, and Shun gets on the board again there. Gold lead minimal for MKOI, but is present.
It's not too bad, but still an explosive game already. 2 kills apiece, looking pretty good. Only a slight gold lead heading over to MCoy, but again, it's where it is going to be. We need to just slow down the pace of the game. We need to take a step back and say, where is the next point of intact?
Couple notes here. Knight held his TP. The wave got crashed in. Jojo just came in, TP back, so Knight still has that reset. It's also Knight. He's got a Dark Seal first back. That's what he does. He buys Medjais every chance he gets. He was always backing himself to pop off on that. And what I was trying to say before we get towards some more of this violence is, theoretically, MCoy's got a lot of priority. They want to be trying to use this opportunity to get interacts, to make these plays happen. That was just a touch far from the superstar of BLG, but hey, Shun's there to punish back.
Look, not the end of the world. It's still any team's game here right now as they're slowing down the pace. But now we're looking up this top side. Ben is able to keep up relatively okay. They're only a wave down into this Vex. But how do you expect this? It's a good hook, but Super able to get out of there.
Nice little alert, but Super buffering well with the Arcane Shift. And yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? Because you've got melee top, melee mid, Cassiopeia bot into Ezreal Bob, which is going to be able to fight for that priority pretty well. It's been about an even enough matchup there, but that top side prio theoretically is giving a lot of platform for Yoya to get a bit of a snowball rolling, and indeed, he's about 10 or so CS. There's the play top side though, but Spearwind's in trouble.
Shin's coming in too, but now the flash goes forward. It's not enough. Shin able to lock it down 2v1. Not too bad for BLG.
Not at all, and Yoya's now been interrupted. This gets a bit spicy. May need to try and queue into the tower, and he's going to be okay.
Yeah, look, it's good to be a bit safe. Like, still, it is going to be a lot coming through. Shun is being very proactive on this Lee Sin, so really nice to see. But look at this wave here. Visualize coming in so big, and look, Viper's happy to walk up. He's not Viper for nothing. Pulling out Cassiopeia, there's going to be poison in this lane.
And again, Viper back home was a good AD carry. Was he the best in the world like he was fighting for last year? No. But come MSI, the mage bot really exploded, and Viper was probably the best in the world back in 2018 on a pixel away from a very lovely dredge zone. Won't quite land. He pulls out the Cassiopeia again, though, does Viper, and is currently having a pretty fun time of it into poor Super, who's down about 10 CS in this early stage.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, though. It is Ezreal. Once you get that Triforce online, you do feel a little bit better. You have your tiers starting to stack, but we're seeing Swifties already picked up here for Viper, too, so that little bit of mobility is going to be so good into the face of this team. As now we see the tunnel coming through. There's the cease and desist. It's onto the backside. Does go forward. Viper has to be careful. They're popping out as much as they can. Ghost is good on. Still just tanking up this line and holding them back.
Keep an eye on Shun as he's now coming down the back end of this. Might look to catch someone on the reset. Yoya's burned the 6. Shun doesn't quite have that. Lands that Sonic Wave, the resonating strike ball. Misses the Q back, and I think that'll be the end of that for now. The Scuttle Crab here with Jojo shoving in, I think, will be MCoys to work with onto the wall.
On landing a couple off hooks there, unfortunately, but now taking a beating on the way out. Sadly, hitting that wall forced him to go forward, but now Dragon is still up and available, but not going to be taken as Yoya playing with the idea, but maybe they're saying let's just back off.
We've sort of seen Shun get a few more plays up. We'll have a look at the replay down here as they went to make this play topside as Shun comes on in, and our observing team is having a lot of fun here. There's the cinematography we've been asking for as Paul Millen there on the Vex does go down.
Look, it's okay. Still going that AP route too, so maybe not going to go the full tank sort of damage, but you know what? That's kind of nice to see. I think Vex does have that really explosive charge that they can get to these fights and just be a disruptor. You have that fear. It's going to do a lot.
And again, when you're following up on the Vi in these team fights, you hit whoever the Vi ults, and theoretically, they explode. You are, however, going to be flying face first into a Cassiopeia and a Nautilus. There is a one with that goes a little wrong. I think these team fights are going to be very intricate to check out.
But we're going to have to see how it goes on as the game is still young. 8 minutes here. Gold is only slightly up here for BLG, and Void Grubs are up on the map.
They are indeed. Does look like BLG want to reset and get over for them. And again, you're the team with the Ambassador, with the Akali. Theoretically, the more dangerous side laners, but we'll see exactly how that works out as we go. And does look like MCoy aren't willing to contest. Bin in a 1v2 on that bot, so shouldn't leak too much. Mirwin with the Vex Press goes on it. All aboard.
Viper taking a beating of damage, but see if they can hold on. As On is up here as well, looking for the recovery, but Viper might just have to be careful. Yoya close to the wings. Void Grubs already quickly secured for BLG.
They are indeed. And again, still a little bit of CS down in the jungle. That's kind of been the trade for Shun, making his moves, not having as much prio as he might otherwise have done in another draft. Is still in a very good spot in terms of the kills, in terms of the gold. And that's kind of been the price paid to make those moves.
It's not the worst kind of price, unfortunately. Usually about a kill is usually about 15 CS roughly, give or take there. So it's not the end of the world. They're still doing okay. It's just about how do they accelerate that a little bit more. They're still into Elyoya. They are going to be so impactful in these team fights, locking someone down. We'll have to see how they're going to be moving forward and doing a little bit more. We're looking at Akali and Anivia here on our screen, and scores, not too bad.
Not bad, and again, Jojo coming in against probably the best player in the world is standing up just fine here right now. About 10 CS, got about 400 gold. Did pick up that kill when Knight turned it to plate. There is a dragon happening right now. Carly on the reset. Milman also just trying to find a way down here, hanging out below that red buff. 4v4 as it stands.
And Shun is here. Might be looking for a play, but no, it's already secured. Tempered Fate's coming in. They've locked down one.
Here we go.
There's a good hook. It's going to be enough for Miasma. Is there.
That's right.
A petrifying gaze.
Oh!
It's all she wrote.
Hang on.
No, he's still gone. But now, Jojo, there's a lot of damage you've got. No matter. It's too much. Jojo's able to lock out Viper from this fight. And a 1-for-1. Pretty good.
It really was. Shun manages to back out the play there just about, but that was spicy. The miasma initially good. Viper tried to find the escape via the magical journey, but it wasn't as magical as I think it was hoping. Perhaps a bit of black magic in the back end of that one. Jojo TP's top side. Does get Bin on the wrong side of the wall here.
Right there, Bin's trying to hold on, taking him just about half health, but pops the potion now. It's just about slicing their way out, but Jojo's not scared to take this fight. It's a lot of damage, locking them down. Nivea able to just charge them a bit. You've got to be careful, and Nivea can turn these on a dime.
Had got the Repudiate, was all right there. The Hex Drinker also works out just fine. I'm going to look at the replay here because the Dragon picks up that Tempered Fate, got a little spicy. The problem was they got on the wrong side of that miasma, and poor Alvaro ended up a little petrified. Shun, though, alongside Viper, also ended up just in that tricky position, and Knight turns up, but not really able to do all that much on the Akali here.
Yeah, and we can see the TP as well for Mirren as well taken. So there's a big summoner taken off the back. That's why they had to walk all the way back to lane. But they were able to get a little bit for it too. But seeing some resets coming forward, gold starting to move just a smidge again. It's a very close series so far. 4 kills to 3. I want to see some acceleration coming forward.
Exactly. And remember, it's just a best of 1 right now. That adds a certain amount of volatility. And of course, you're not done here if you lose this one, but it certainly puts you in a precarious position. And right now, MCoy have turned up, clearly prepared, and ready to tango with one of the very best in the world. This is the first stand champions, the MSI finalists. And the gold right now is close enough, only 5 or so 100 in favor of BLG, but they are now grouped up around this turret.
Yeah, look, they're really trying to siege this and trying to just take this top side. As you can see as well, Super's trying to make their way up, but that's a big chunk of their damage. Let's see if they can hold them back just long enough. It is still some solid tower plates there, but it is a siege and a half from BLG here, and they're trying to put that pressure on the map, get some gold in their pockets.
It is, and again, all the side of MCoy, you're the team with the Anivia, with the Vex looking to try and get value out of the early stage, and the fact that I'm looking at Knight, who on the melee champion is still even in CS. Bin kind of doing fine. He's got the Hex Drinker. He's into double AP solo lanes. I have a horrible feeling we're about to hit a mid-game where BLG can start flexing a little. Knight might now be in a touch of bother as the wall comes down, but it's a very good shuriken flip out, and I think Vi won't quite be in range. Shun also on that side of the map. Instead, though, Death Charge in. Alvaro gets through the magical journey, so can't quite find the pick they were looking for. Shun now towards Yoya, who has, of course, got that level or so advantage courtesy of the CS, but gold-wise, it's a much more even affair. Hang on, another hook. They're keeping going to the enemy jungle here.
Tempered Fate flash from Viper is going to be very big. The 5-minute countdown is on. So now we're looking at a 1v1. It is going to be enough. There's the Shadow Surge. Are they going to take it all the way? But maybe they're just waiting for a little cooldowns here, there, and everywhere. But still, now it's a fight over this blue buff. Let's see if they can take a little bit more.
Now comes the Crystallize. The hook comes on, Knight looking for an angle. The magical journey does a lot to go through, but there is that Shuriken flip. Knight executes the cease and desist on him, but I don't think Knight's listening to police orders right now, and he'll get on out of the Petrifying guys just wise. Top side, though, Bin gets the solo.
It was the flip. It was the dive. That's what I said. You can never count an Ambessa out of these fights, no matter what, and they can do it. It is Bin. They are one of the best top laners in the world.
They are, and again, Bin will have a look, I think, at the replay here, exactly what he did. Lands the public execution, and it turns out sometimes that ability name is right on the money.
yeah. Not wrong, unfortunately. Especially when it's just on one. Get that nice little guillotine straight in, and you're happy as
welcome to France. There you go.
That's it. I got it in there. I know I would. But now, game started to slow down. It is a 1k gold lead for BLG. They're going to be looking at this tower. Knight's doing a really good job sitting in these side lanes and just taking away anything they can.
And again, he's gone the Gunblade route to be able to play some of those more extended fights, get some sustain in there. And again, I think that's probably relatively wise into things like the Anivia, which could otherwise be a little annoying with that kind of overall burn. But now flipping forward, throws down that Twilight Strike. He's going to go in. The slow is good.
This is the solo bolo I was talking about. It's
Go,
all
go,
on
go.
Knight. They want to take these fights. And there it is. Solo bolo.
Oh, Knight takes top. That's unfortunate. The Rook falls. And the king of the LPL just comes on in and claims another skull.
Oh, it's just too easy. We're sending those straight to the catacombs. We knew MKOI might have been living down there, but now they're really struggling. They're trying to find their way. But BLG, they know it, and it's a map inside their brain.
And unfortunately, Milwen picked this Vex, look for this fun counter pick, got ganked, first death, loses a solo kill to Bin, has given up a solo kill to Knight as well. That's not a great spot to be. Roll quest, as we saw, just completed by Jojo. That gives some nice boots and all, but we're starting to see the map begin to fall apart. It was a close enough game, and now you look to the top of your screen, 2,500 to BLG. They've got the grubs, they've got their solo lane throwing. Second Drake's about to stop, but it's a relatively late one. TP's flying.
Yeah, it's already coming in as Elyoya is looking to just do as much as they can, but Jojo throwing up a wall, tries to hook it from on, but it's not going to be enough. Watch Mirror in the backside. Shadow Surge is available for a bit more of a fight. Pumping execution in the backside. It's good. It's on Super. Not Spanner. Let's see if the damage is going to be there. He's trying to do it. He's still alive. No, he's got 1 HP. Petrifying Gaze is good. Can they go for it?
Oh, my lord.
Elyoya's just teetering on the edge, shoots there, Viper takes out Elyoya. They're so low, but it was BLG that takes the dragon, and they're looking for more. They're cleaning up everything. BLG wants some more flash out of Knight. Let's see if Jojo's able to do a little bit more. They've got the health. Knight is low. Sure can flip back. They might be going here, but initialize. What a great fight from
Still
BLG.
going.
Let's see if they can take it.
Super needs to be really careful.
Oh my god, looking for more. It's not enough. Super's able to get out.
Just about gets away with it. That's the additional pickup there. It halves the gold lead. BLG turn up thinking they've got the angle on in, but Super gets to glide. The Ezreal in the scrappy team fight keeps hitting the Qs and comes away with a win.
And it's actually such a big dragon fight. You can see both teams, they wanted to get in there. They wanted to make the moves, and they just couldn't. But that public execution into the backline, how did Bin survive this long is astounding. And you're right, Super has no mana. It's just trying to get the damage off, but still BLG come out with the dragon.
They do, and that's a big win in its own right. Again, stops that stacking from MKOI, but they got a lot of shutdowns. They got a lot of gold onto Super here. The extended play, Knight thought he might have the angle. He certainly wasn't walking away, so he tries to take one with him. The Twilight Shroud down, thought maybe here with the Gunblade, the Q auto, but Super just says no.
Just says no indeed. Rift Herald now up on the map to see where it's going to go. As we do also know it's an Ocean Soul coming into this game, so it depends which team's going to favor that the biggest. I really feel like it probably should be going over to BLG. They want that extra healing in these team fights, especially with Ambessa, Lee Sin, even Akali. They want to be stacking up that health mid-fight too.
And again, if you do get into the fights, that's going to be true. We'll have a look at the replay because it looks like Knight with this solo kill we saw a little earlier on. And again, the observers with the T-Tours. Get the camera out, Mom. Knight's popping off again.
That was fire, and I called that. It happens every time, international or not. You will see a solo bolo with an Akali in a side lane, guaranteed. But it is also BLG doing it all over the map. We also saw Bin doing such a good job with it too.
So, let's do a little bit of checking in on the game state, where we're at right now. Dragon apiece, grubs are sold to BLG. They've still got a good gold lead here, but MKOI, again, it was a solid fight. It got some gold in some important places, specifically Super. He's got a notable gold lead with the Muramana on its way to a transformation as well. If there is someone you're going to need from MKOI to pop off to win this, it's going to be that Ezreal. The problem is you look at the solo lanes, you look at the jungle role. Shun, Bin, Knight are in a great spot. Merwin, again, is just struggling, and there's 1v1!
Oh, just able to survive a little bit more. Knight taken very low, but it's not worth chasing.
He does get the flash of Merwin again, and again, it's just about okay. Knight, not quite sniped out there by Super, but again, it's cooldown economy. Coming into a dragon fight, you are not going to have that flash, and on the Vex, that could be a big deal.
Oh, no, absolutely. Items are still coming across the board, too. You see a big item advantage heading over for Shun. Getting that Black Cleaver, too, means they are going to be able to get through these teams a little bit more, especially Elyoya. You need to be looking at them. They're going to be that big front line because that's really the only one that's in there. It's all squishy damage behind. You have to be so careful. So a Black Cleaver's just going to
start shredding.
Yeah, that's going to be it. And again, Shun being this fed is a scary proposition. He may well be a problem. There comes that Crystallize. Just about all right, fighting over Vision in the river right now. Bit of a chunk on and goes Shun.
Getting jumped on, but it's going to be tempered bait to the backside, but it's going to be enough. Petrifying Gaze does hit. It's enough damage. Yes, it's Elyoya picking up the shutdown. And now they're looking for a little bit more. Dragon up in a minute. There's nothing really objective-wise to get.
What it is, though, again, is looking for the vision control. Baron's still a little ways off, so that's not going to be a possibility. But it's also things like some of those summoners coming on down. But we kept most of them there, though, so that'll be the end of that one. And again, keep your eyes on some of those second items starting to get completed. Super's got that transformation now. You've got that additional item in for Viper. Does Knight get the Shadow Flame, though? That'll be a big one for me. Where's Ben going to be out? Because he stopped up for the Hextra and understandably for the 1v1 matchups in those side lanes versus those AP solo laners. 40 seconds, so resets are going to be happening now if they're happening at all. Knight looking for a solo kill. Does go in, finds that Shuriken flip, goes a little wide. Still looking for it.
In there.
Gets it.
Too much. Knight does not care. Elyoya is here. Look at the flash goes forward. Easy pickings. 1-for-1 trade. Not the end of the world.
Not at all. You get the flash off of Yoya for that as well, and I think Knight will be happy enough with that, of course. Still, it is the Akali who is probably a little bit more important for the team than the 0 and 5 Vex, so we'll see what that leads to. There's a teleport not available for Knight, is for Mirwin, and that could hurt potentially around a Dragon setup for BLG, but with Yoya on the wrong side of the map, maybe that allows a little bit of grace in the timings.
We can just take a second here. We've hit 20 minutes. The Baron's on the board to see what these teams are looking at. Dragon's also available. So it's really, where do these teams want to start putting that priority? Where do they want the vision? Where do they want to start making the moves? Because you did just burn a couple summoners in a couple plays on both sides. It's a bit... I just don't care. Where are they going to go?
That's exactly that. Have a look at this replay again, because Knight got that level advantage even to the top laner who's supposed to have that experience role quest, remember? And didn't look particularly happy, but he did get the fear and enough damage from the turret to at least allow Yoya with that flash Q to get something back.
Looking back in live, there is a bit of a fight going on. They're trying to get a little bit more damage off, but let's see if they can get anything off it. On, doing a good job moving forward. They're just throwing things left, right, and center, but MKoi not able to hit their mark. Looking around this Dragon, has been started up by BLG, but both sides playing it slow. BLG now back on it. They've got the damage, they've got the moves. Let's see if it is going to be MKoi making those moves, but it looks like they have to concede.
Flash him for the hook,
on, looking for it, but no, it does get him with the 7-5, but no, Muir, he's on the backside, just getting blasted once again. Knight locking down the back. There's the Dragon.
Lovely.
Sending them back. It's all too much. Jojo does pick up one, but still a double kill here for Knight. They're one of the best for a reason. Let's see if they can hold the line, but a great play from BLG.
Fortunately for them, it's their jungler that dies. It means they can't really turn that into the Baron, but they still get the Dragon. They still get the win in terms of the team fight. So they'll be happy enough with that.
Not too bad at the end of the world, but now it is, again, the next objective on the board. Baron is there. Once we see those resets coming out, once we see Shun coming back into form, they could just be looking for another scrap.
That's the one. Baron, probably our next port of call. The gold lead, though, has kind of shrunk away here, hasn't it? Under 1,000 gold is pretty good news for MKoi, who were in danger of being blown out as some of those side lane plays started to happen. Yoya's caught up in the gold lead. He's now back to a good spot. We're seeing Super in a strong position as well.
It's on big testament here to MKoi. Like, the fact they're going up against one of the best teams in the world right now. They were so close at MSI, but now they're holding their own. They're still pushing plays. They're making the right moves. So big props that they're holding the line. And that is a big thing for a lot of teams facing such of an opponent.
Yeah, and again, it's tough schedule for BLG coming straight off MSI. There's not a lot of time to turn things around, get over, get set up. And it's game one, it's a best of one, it can get a bit spicy. BLG have really improved their late game from the early split woes, where we kind of had that nickname bad late game because their team fighting a little later on was sometimes a little inconsistent, probably the way to put it. We'll have a look at the replay here. Is on with the flash hook, and as we're kind of saying, their team fighting really has improved, especially when people like On are feeling it, and it's a wonderful kick from Shun. He trades his life for it, but it is the extra kill.
Not the that's pretty good if you ask me. You trade those kills, but still, you want to have Shun in these big fights and able to hold on a little bit more. So it might be on to be a little bit more of that front line too. But Bin doing a fantastic job sitting in the front, getting to the back line, and just disrupting the front to back that we're seeing from MKoi.
And again, it's it's a weird one because we're looking at these teams and it's very heavy dive on both sides. So the team fighting happens like, we are sending our backline to your backline every time. The Vi, the Vex going one way, the Akali, the Ambessa going the other. Teleports in, the Miasma down to 10 feet. It's going to keep going, the damage keeps rolling as Viper. Now beginning to throw some twin bangs out. The hook is there. Continue to throw out some more damage on Finn and taken down by the Glacial Storm and a Flash Frost. Mkoy with the pick.
Not too bad. It's a great lock in here. They're taking the score 13-11. They're crawling back. Gold lead is still low. Let's see if they take it a little bit further and start looking at the Baron. It's a 4v5.
It is, Nick. Let's put down some of these wards, and the zone control is strong here from the likes of an Anivia, from the Vex throwing out some of those fear zones and all that kind of stuff with the personal space and the Mistral bolts and all those kinds of things. And again, Bard, all that ability to throw an arm, look for a pick, and maybe looking to do that right now. They've got enough wards, and Shun recalling on an Mkoy ward might be in a bit of danger here. Mkoy thinking about it, but the Crystallize not quite what they were hoping for.
No, cancelling out that back. It's just a little bit of tempo playing right there, but now they're looking at this scuttle, and it is just the team trying to play really smart, looking at these objectives too. But now the picks are coming in. We can see Mkoy can hold that line and actually secure someone. It's on BLG to start pushing that tempo further and locking out this backside. Get Super out of these fights so he can't do the damage.
Yeah, there is going to be. I had a quick drink and forgot to move my mic into position there. Oops. Sometimes guys, even as casters, are capable of making an error or two, just on occasion, only on occasion. But we are now, well, you know, we've got to make sure you realize we're humans too, you know? Vocal hands, but it's buffered through with that arcane shift, and locking this Ezreal down has proven to be a challenge. Only the one death, and that was from very early on. And Super, great showing right now. The 3 items are in. He's got that exhaust, of course, to give himself a little bit of safety if someone like that Akali or that Ambessa do end up on top of him. With the Shojin completed alongside everything else, his ability to continue the damage is very strong. Eyes on the top left corner of your screen, though. Dragon's coming up, and that would be sole point for BLG if they can claim, and Baron also a possibility.
I'm just looking at the players in this right now. Knight, who we've seen do some phenomenal plays across the map, is only 400 gold up on Jojo. Like, they are so equal right now, item-wise, gold. Like, so close to the series just for these mid laners alone. I think their impact really comes down to pure performance. Who is going to get those kills first? Who's going to have that impact to disrupt a little bit more? And that's going to be a big decider for me.
And again, we had that brief conversation where I mentioned the thing we never got to describe, a full contact team fighting, which is basically, you dive my backline, right? Well, my job is to dive yours. So then the follow-up damage isn't there. The problem in this game is the people who are diving are also doing the damage. So Viper and Super in particular are going to have to be very wary of the people looking for their head. Dragon started. Super throws down that true shot barrage. Look at Knight on the flank.
Already looking to take it down to 4k health. It is BLG trying to get that control. Look to get to that soul point, but now look for a little bit more on. Lance the hook is going to be enough as they send a little bit more forward. Not just good, but this just taking out. Jojo locks them down. Look at all the damage. Look at Ben. They're on the back line. Viper is getting it done. It is soul point now, heading over for BLG. Now they need to turn this fight or run away as they're dashing forward. Mkoy, they're looking to make moves, but BLG decide it's worth staying back.
It is Knight. Tries to back out. That was on the flank, got zoned off a little bit, but again, it's a little messy, but they did get soul point, and because Mkoy were a little late to the play, didn't manage to Joya traded his life with Ons. It's a win again for BLG, and now you're in the catch 2. You're down soul point, Viper ghosting in. Just have to back away. That got a little spicy, but holds onto that mid lane turret critically. On Alvaro just about able to dodge away from the Shuriken flip, and Knight a known quantity now.
Oh, look, Knight is here just playing in the jungle, living in the darkness, but it is still BLG now trying to get this vision around the Baron. We keep coming back to it. It's been up for 7 minutes. No team is able to lock it down first. Super is just a little bit too low. They need to and Shun could potentially look for a play because it's just low enough to lock it down. And this could be the hit. Super. It's going to go over. Super's able to arcane shift over the wall. Stays alive a little bit longer.
It's the flash down, though, and this is the cooldown economy we talk about. LPL teams play for this all the time. Between objectives where your ultimates are less important, you look to blow things like flashes from mid laners, from AD carries, because guess what? Then you don't have it for that Soul fight. Then you don't have it for that Baron fight. And considering how obnoxious, how problematic the Ezreal has been for BLG to lock down consistently, that's a big win as far as I'm concerned.
Big thing there, though, it is an Ezreal. You have the Arcane Shift, you can dash away still, but as long as you lock them down, you have a Nautilus. The Dredge is going to be pretty good, so you have to be super careful with that as well. But big power spikes starting to come in. Knight with a Shadow Flame, of all things, is going to be blasting out of the water.
It is indeed, and then we've got that popping up there as well. Very, very dangerous indeed. And the thing is, look, yes, you've got the Arcane Shift, but you've still got to deal with Depth Charge, Dredge Line. You've got Akali diving in with all of her mobility, Rocket Belts, and perfect executions, and public executions as well from Ambessa. Lee Sin coming from a flank angle. Gets very, very difficult, and you've only got the one dash to help out with that. Sure, Super with a Magical Journey, with a Locket, with a Tempered Fate. You've got some tools to potentially defend your AD carry, but that is going to be easier said than done. Baron is up. No team has really started that, but it is MKOI in control of that top side of the river right now. 4 minutes until Soul a possibility for BLG, and the gold is practically dead even at this point of the game. We are 29 minutes in, and it is 700 gold that separates these two squads.
Which I don't think a lot of us expected this to go. We all thought BLG was going to come in and just blast their way through, but no, MKOI doing a really good job there. They're facing a crowd. They're in the catacombs, but they are holding on, and they're finding the light. Let's just see if they can get into the land and outside.
Exactly that. And again, I don't think it's necessarily that BLG have been playing poorly. They've actually made some good moves. There's some really good side lane solo kills. But I think then the way I want to phrase it is that I think MKOI have stepped up. They have delivered, and they are looking like a good team. Here, let's game one. Viper look for the pick. Can't quite get it. And we are playing for river control. Again, Dragon is a little ways off, but that seems to not matter right now as Alvaro in the river, bin, split off. Viper had to flash there. He's down that one. That's pretty huge. Joya goes in. Joya gets a skull grab. But the execution is going in. Joya, Tempered Fate is going to be a big deal. Keep Joya safe. But the miasma means the Vi is going to fail flash over the wall, and Knight gets the kill. It's traded. Both junglers down. Knight needs the rocket belt away as Jojo Pyun on this, and Nivea continues to flash freeze everyone who dares get into a choke point.
You cannot enter the Glacial Storm without losing a couple toes. Ben did try to catch out Mirror in there, but no, wasn't enough. But still, you could as well see that BLG had to really retreat there. Like, they were very low. Two members were kill shot ready. So big play. Let's watch the replay here as well. You can see it was trying to be started on, wanted to make that move, but everything just got in the way. Walls, snowstorms, it was just not enough. It was Shun who did get the nice little scuttle crab. So not the end of the world. It's all about that vision control like we talked about. But now it's all about starting these fights and straight into the back line. And that public execution was great.
The Tempered Fate bought a lot of time, but again, Alva went flashing for Q, didn't land it. Then Shun gets a little bit caught there, but they do bring down the jungle. If it had been Joya there was a very real world where they could have turned that into Baron. But Jojo at this point, because he picked up so many kills, it's just doing an absolute boatload of damage. Super's now got a fourth item as well. Knight landed a Shuriken flip and couldn't continue the damage, which was very problematic. I think this Ezreal is still going to be a menace here, and it's still going to remain a very contentious game, to say the least of it.
100% initialize. It is going to be big as the Dragon now spawns. It is Soul Point for BLG. This is going to be a big fight.
Eyes on some of the summoners missing. Viper, no flash. On, no flash. Super, still no flash. Alongside, frankly, the majority of MKOI.
And this is going to be the big one. Shun is already in the pit, waiting there on a pink where they have the safety. It's all about the smoke.
Here they go.
Looking for the Dragon.
Tempered
Fate hits the Dragon, but they're on the back line. It is MKOI trying to hold back. Shadow Surf's not enough. They did lock it down. It has been picked up. Ocean Soul locked in for BLG. Now they just need to recover. They need to move back and stay a little bit longer. But no, it is MKOI looking for more. CC on the back line. Petrifying Gaze. It's good. Alvaro wants to get the shot, but it's on. It's all too much. It's all that Shiro. They're getting the damage. Another Knight go. He wants Jojo in the egg. It's time to scramble up some bird because it could be a little bit much, but they're still so low. Miasma's going out. See if they can lock them down a little bit longer. Knight doesn't have the energy. Looking for more. Jojo is low. Wants more.
Down.
Knight gets everything she wrote. Knight wants blood. He's got the sword. He's got the shield. And he takes MKOI for a ride.
Oh, it's superb stuff. You want to win EWC, you're going to need to crack a few eggs. Jojo finally falls. The Ocean Soul value in the extended fight is monstrous. They've got a wave waiting for them top. That will at the very least be Inhibitor.
And that is such a big turn of the game. What was a 500 gold differential was now 5.4k.
The thing is, there's 30 seconds on the wave clear. BLG smell blood in the water. And maybe a little bit of that omelette frying, eh? Towards the Nexus turret they go. Tempered Fate buys some time. Joya and Alvaro must stop the onslaught, but Billy Gaming will take no prisoners here. And MCoy, they fought well, they fought hard, but they will bleed out, drowned by Ocean Soul wearing Billy Gaming.
And this is why they're one of the best. Yes, MCoy took them for a ride, but it was not enough. Sadly, that ride came to an end in this best-of-1 series. And wow, BLG came in with the goods.
They really did. To be honest, I want to give serious credit to MCoy. That was a game that I think a lot of people on paper were going to go, MCoy scraped in to Esports World Cup. They were kind of an extra, an afterthought. They didn't look like that today, did they? They looked so strong. BLG, though, MSI finalists, first stand winners, still managed to clutch it out and do a phenomenal job there in those late game scenarios. The Dragon stacking ended up being the difference maker at the end of it all.
And that was where that priority was. The vision was good, the team fights were clean, and it was all on Shun being ready and available, waiting for those objectives to come through, and then just getting in at the right second. So BLG looking so fierce today. They said they wanted to come in and look strong. So it is, how hard can they go? How high can they fly here at EWC 2026? But we'll just have to wait and see as they do move to the upper bracket here, Initialize. Now it comes down to what is the next step? Who do they go up against, and how big of a component or opponent are they going to be?
Well, exactly that. And again, they are theoretically one of the favorites for the whole League of Legends tournament here in 2026. At the Esports World Cup. But that is perhaps easier said than done. Isn't that right, Valdez?
That is exactly right. Thank you so much, guys, for the great cast as BLG do take the win. Very dominant last fight there. I feel like MCoy, they were doing a good job of just kind of waiting and trying to beat them into fights and saying, okay, we have a really nice disengage comp. Let's just let them come into us. But they gave away so much. They gave away the Ocean Soul. And then that last fight was just a little bit too much. And I think when you have Nautilus, you have Akali, a lot of different ways to get into the fight. It just looked like BLG had enough to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, especially I think when they get this team competition against like the engaging team comp, like you can't be scared getting engaged on it because you have a bar you can protect. You can actually have a wall, so make sure they get separate. It's just like they're really over. I would say like over scared. Like we're gonna see with the highlight, but like they're over scared. So like they actually went back to the bad choke, like above the cross, like the C curve, the brush, and also they feel bad because like they lost the objective, and they're like, let's just go in because we lost the objective. Like it's just the game plan was like more. PLG was more basically delicate.
Yeah, I think it's just very difficult when you're not on the objective first of the Anivia in general, especially versus so much dive, right? And unfortunately, it didn't feel like this Vex pick got enough value in assisting in some of that dive. There were some moments, sure, but I think not all. That's the thing with picks like that with Moen, right? Because I called for it, I was like, hey, like let's get something weird from Moen, right? I think that's normally when they look the best. But it's definitely also when they look the worst. Because when it falls off, it falls off hard. And this was definitely one of those games where...
It was too weird.
Yeah, maybe a little too weird.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea, but the execution was not necessarily there. And BLG eventually got across the line, starting off with first blood in the bottom lane, which should... once again, you know, we've had actually Lee Sin in every single game so far here at EWC 26 for League of Legends on both stages, and he popped off on this pick as well.
Yeah, I mean, like it looked like the Kali kind of died for free, but it's actually not because the Lee Sin was like so behind on all the games since he was ganking bottom and mid and top, as we see. Like it was like he was like way behind on the Vi EXP. Like it was like almost leveled down. So I think Akali there, it's just like go for die and then just give the Lee Sin kill, and then it helps so much, and be able to push mid wave. It translates to like his scrimmages, like he's actually he's still one level down, like even though what happened earlier, but because he wasn't farming, and those kind of stuff like are so managed to like as a team, and it's like it's really easy to team fight and get a playing around objective.
Yeah, we saw a lot of side lane shenanigans here from Irwin, and not in his favor. Knight took advantage of that, so did Bin, and it felt like, the Vex and the composition, it kind of makes sense theoretically, but when you get wrecked in lane, you get pushed and you don't really have any side lane pressure, and then in the team fights, it's still a Vex. At the end of the day, like, this is not a top tier pick, so theoretically okay, but yeah.
It's weird. It's like it wants to be tankier, but it can't survive that much burst damage, right? And so effectively it just kind of turns into a one-off fear bot, and if it doesn't necessarily yield value, like someone gets hit by a Bard stun because of it, or a Nivea stun, and then they just change CC and died. It just kind of turns into this where it just dies on side.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like they have a good choke. Like, sure, I get that they have they're trying to approach like the different angle, but the thing is like you don't in this the type of the comp, like you don't actually have to go first. Like let Nivea get wall and let Angel just poke. Like even this one, what I just talked about, like. They lost the Drake Soul because they were not willing to fight. Then why are they willing to fight after they give up the soul? It's just like it just doesn't make sense, right? Like they might as well just play like way more aggressive when they actually have a chance. Or I would say the success of the percentage is higher. Just take the opportunity.
Yeah, oftentimes I like to call fights like those like they're window shopping for the objective.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh, there's a lovely sale, but I'm about to miss it. The timer's running down. And they walk into the store, they miss the sale. And then in this case, BLG just clubbed them over the head for coming in late. But yeah, again, I think sometimes that just shows a little bit of lack of maybe confidence of just willing to go, hey, like, we have the space to send it. Let's send it, but then make sure we can try and control the fight afterwards.
Well, guys, that was a very interesting best of one. We had BLG to take the win on this one. We have Kitty on the stage now with the Knight. Take it away for the interview.
Thank you so much. By my side, we have BLG Knight for the post-game interview. 欢迎奈特来到我们的赛后采访. This is going to be our first time where we host EWC in Paris. So I want to ask Knight, how is the atmosphere in France so far? 想问一下奈特，今年是首次在巴黎举行的 EWC， 所以感觉氛围如何呢？
感觉挺好的吧，人很多，然后场馆也很大，然后也是我打 EWC 第一次赢比赛吧，就非常开心。
I'm very happy because this is my first time winning a match in the Parisian arena, and of course, our first time in France, so I'm very excited, and the arena is huge. 那么下一轮你们对阵的会是 T1. Next round, you guys are going to be versing against T1. Who are you guys going to be looking out for? 下一轮是 T1, 所以想问一下奈特选手有什么比较需要注意的点呢？
因为上次我们赢了他们嘛，就照常打应该就能赢。
Because we already won against T1 the previous time we versed them, so we just have to be a bit more careful and we should be okay. 那么现场有很多奈特的粉丝 we have a lot of Knight fans in the arena today. 所以有什么想要跟他们说的吗？
就巴黎这么远也下来支持我们吧，我们也会争取加油进决赛的。
We have a lot of BLG fans in the arena now, so I wanted to say thank you so much for flying all the way to Paris. We will try our best, and we will make sure to get every single win we can. 谢谢奈特, thank you so much for the post-game interview, and back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Kitty and Knight, for that one. Obviously, showing a lot of love to the local crowd and talking about how big the arena is as well. It was, I would say, not BLG's most amazing game, not their most flashy, but they got the job done. And really, that's all that matters. They are going to go up against T1 in the next matchup.
I
mean, I don't know. T1 didn't look amazing either, so, you know.
I mean, look, I think that's the story of a lot of BLG's year, to be fair. It's like it's not pretty, but it's just another, you know, it's another chapter to just whack inside the book for that. But again, I think MKOI did a very good job of making that game awkward, making it weird with the Vex pick, with the way that they obviously skirmished around mid, with the Anivia. There were loads of things that just slowed them down, and I think once eventually they were able to kind of just, well, mostly just find the picks on the side lane, enabled Knight to have so much more freedom once the team fights rolled around. He had so much extra gold in his pocket.
Yeah, I think it's always like really exposed game, like for both team, honestly, like showing off like the weak side as well. But you know, there's like that they were playing around the competition well. Like those, I'll say, like those are really strong sides. So those kind of have to be more impactful against like these teams, because like these teams are good. Like they're here for just playing actually international team. They are decently well. That's why they came here to play at EWC. So I mean, for sure, you got to take some risk to get reward.
They absolutely have to. And, you know, it wasn't a bad showing from the side of MKOI, but there's a lot more work to be done, as they will have to go up against GAM Esports, who looked actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I like their ability to really mix up a game and never make it like very cut and dry, which is kind of what Korean teams like T1 like to do, where it's like, okay, we have control, we do whatever we want, and you guys lose.
Yeah.
GAM are like, no, we're going to throw that out the window. And I think they did a pretty good job of doing that. That was on the main stage. That game was happening at the same time. So will be pretty interesting stuff here for Group C, but that's going to do it for now, guys. We are going to take a break and come back with our next matchup. Don't go anywhere.
O que você votou? Mid. Mid C. For me, mid's just easy. ADC is also easy, but I'm like on competitive, maybe not so much. In league, I think it's ADC because you kind of just need to hit and do damage. People just say most ADCs is just dumb because they just need to hit and do damage, so they don't use a lot of brain. So this is for me. I'm on mid again. Support. Mid because I don't know, I find it fun to play. It's like my second row, and when I'm out of field I always have fun and I find it easy. Yeah, support because when I start to play in competitive, I play support. I started playing support, but now I'm in ADC, so support if I choose another role. Tem que ser esse. Tem que ser. Mel. Yumi. Mel is just, I don't know. It's just a bad design of a champion. She doesn't work. She should not be on the game. Yumi because it's a support, but just enter into ADC or I don't know, into jungle or other person. People just say when you play Yumi, you don't play League. You are just waiting and do other stuff, and Yumi is a good choice. Gigo. Jojo. I can't say it's me, so it's Gigo. He's always saying like dumb stuff, and I'm always laughing. I think it's Jojo because he always laughing about everything, but he used a lot of sarcasm. Sarcasm. Yeah, so I think it's kind of funny. Special. I think Brazilian players are really passionate about the game, like casual, pros, so that's it for me. Kind of the same thing, but I think in Brazil, we kind of just like to play a lot of champions. I think you can see we play a lot of stuff and try new things. For me, it's kind of special because of that. I have no idea. I think I have a good one. A knife. Knife? Yeah, I'm not sure why, but I might need it. I don't know if there's like animals, I don't know, might be useful. I think of League of Legends, no? No? Oh. I choose Zonias because you can stop the time and just wait for help. That's a good one. I'm not sure if I can write it right. Psychologist. Doctor. I used to study for this actually. I don't know, League just happens in my life. So I was like, yeah, let's try League. And it worked. Yeah, I choose Doctor because I like medical stuff. And when I was young, I liked to watch series about medical stuff. So I think it's Doctor. Carrier. I'm a fan, so not much to say. I think he's really good. Yeah, I'm also a fan, and he wins a lot, so I think it's just the right choice.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city supercharged. Kadir City, powered by Play.
We were there. For every click, every clutch, every respawn. We were there for the years of grind. And we're here. Now. The proud founding partner of EWC. Powering the biggest event in gaming. Shoulder to shoulder with the world's best. Making history. Greatness deserves a stage. Lenovo Legion. Reach your impossible.
He thinks he can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing but go!
Tyler Wine, you're done.
This is my ladder. You can't climb it.
That's an airline.
Somebody better hold me.
Okay, yeah. Do something then.
Raw energy. Blow the house down.
Hello and welcome back to the secondary stage here for EWC 2026's League of Legends. We're getting ready for our third match of the day. It will be Furia up against G2, and already the fans are piling in behind us as we've had many fan chants already. The game hasn't even begun, and obviously some big fan bases for both of these two squads, guys.
It's really loud. It's really packed. Everyone's like so ready for it. Everyone's so excited. I'm ready too.
Dare I say, I think there's more people here for G2 Furia than BLG Koi. Yeah, I mean, makes sense, right? European team, home soil. But the Brazilian fans, no matter, honestly, what sport, esport, passionate, the shout is there. And even though I think they're slightly fewer in number, they're equally as loud,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
There they are. You probably hear them and or see them behind them as they're getting into it. And yeah, I mean, again, always have to do this disclaimer. There's a best of one. Anyone can win. So far, I think, you know, the second match kind of went more the way we were expecting, although BLG weren't like super flashy. They got the job done. They took the win. What is your guys' expectation for this one? Who should be the favorites coming into this match?
I mean, it's like the meta's like right now is like really kind of, I would say like it's not steady, right? Like it's just like all the game, if you get like one thing like really screwed over, like it just seems like it's really easy to hit the enemy like constantly, like, and it's like losing the point, and that's like, you know, translate to the like objective and middle game, the skirmishes. It looked like there's no clean game so far because like there's no one-sided game. It's just the both teams are trying so hard to win and managing and also preparing really well, just playing around the objective, playing as a team. Like it's showing off like really strong the identity from the team. That's how I feel.
Yeah, what I'm looking at from G2 is how they actually look to control the pace of the game. I feel like that's something that they did really well when they're opening to MSI, but then come the Lions series, that was a lot less present. And I think versus a team like Furia, they're going to come at you fangs bared, and they aren't going to stop. Like, they will keep on looking for plays, and a lot of that is driven by Tatu, the kid's a superstar, right? He is a playmaker. He wants to be the guy that drives the game forward, and oftentimes, down in the CB low, he is the guy that drives the game forward for this team.
Yeah, definitely the reason why they are here on multiple international stages, representing their region. You know, quite obviously the best team from there. And again, it's another jungler you mentioned that is having a big effect. It does feel like this meta especially very jungler-centric. And also, we've seen Lee Sin in every game that we've had so far, so would not be surprised to see more of it here.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you know who's pretty good at it?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you gonna, yeah, would you give to listen to him?
Oh, having trouble hearing you guys because, well,
yeah. These headphones aren't soundproof.
Yeah.
For free.
I mean, we have like the main stage right over there, and there's like tons of seats and stuff. But actually, over here, I think there might be more people.
It's super packed.
I mean, it's G2, right? Huge fan base here in Europe, here in Paris, and they're getting a lot of support, to say the least. And as you already mentioned, the Furia faithful are here as well, supporting them. But G2, you know, I think there's a lot of hope behind the squad recently for this year, not just because of their win over T1, but, you know, especially because of that. I think a lot of people can say, well, they beat T1 and then the loss to Lion was a fluke, so they should be, you know, kind of in a really good spot right now.
And you know what about that weird spot? We haven't touched on the coaching staff change. Dylan is no longer the coach.
Yeah.
Right? They've elected to go with Perks. Obviously, Perks officially, I think, only started working with them at the start of the month. He's been around probably a little bit longer than that, but I really want to see what level of impact that has on this G2 lineup. You know, a lot of the talk when it came to Dylan oftentimes would be, does he make these guys cook too much in the prep and in the draft, right? And I don't think that was necessarily the case in the Lion loss. I didn't really hate the G2 drafts. I think you could actually see it in their opening MSI series a bit, where, yeah, they can go too far forward. But I really want to see what the philosophy looks like from a Perks-led G2.
Yeah, I mean, 100% because, like, how would they want against T1? Because they were cooking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't really blame him. So, I mean, yeah, it's just, I think it's go back to, like, you know, get a fresh environment, like, fresh atmosphere. And it's, like, just, it doesn't mean that actually changing, like, the team play style of it's like roster is not changed, right? Like it's just like the managing the team, managing the player, like those kind of things are gonna be the only change. So I think it's hopefully for G2's side, the perspective, I think it's, you know, it's a good side if it's good.
Yeah. I think this is a good test bed.
If it's good, it's good.
To say the least. And look, again, Furia are the kind of team that when it comes to internationals, they come in, I mentioned it with Team Secret Wales, they come in hungry.
Yeah.
Right? They're here to win. Right?
100%.
And obviously that swings both ways. Like you will play to win into a loss sometimes. And that often is the failure of a lot of CBLOL teams, is they play too hard in the skirmishes and then it leads to those bigger macro losses. And that's what we want to see kind of reined in here.
Yeah, I mean, this is like really good opportunity. It's like it's testing your ceiling, right? Like you get so good practiced opponents against it. And it's like, this is like where you can actually just prove yourself and test yourself. Like, how can you push yourself to limit? And it's time to prove on the stage.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on both of these teams, no doubt. I mean, it's a 16-team tournament, but if you lose a couple of matches, you know, 1 best of 1 and 1 best of 3, you're just out. So got to be ready to go, and both of these teams looks like they are. And our draft should be up here in just a moment, guys. So take it away, our casters, as we head into the draft.
With pleasure, Valdez. Initialize here, joined by Logan. Switching it up just a little bit here as we do head into draft. And the desk are absolutely right. There is very little room for error. 1 best of 1, 1 best of 3, and it can all go wrong. Folks, the crowds have turned up for this match, and that might be me and Logan. We have to work to be heard because the Furia fans, the G2 fans are here in force, and it is pretty electric here in Paris today.
That is right. G'day, g'day. We are here for G2 versus Furia. It is the LEC versus CB LoL, and the energy here, oh, you could feed off this energy. It is a feast. Everybody is pumped, and we're already into these picks and bans. We've already got that Poppy, J4, and Cassiopeia, who has been rising in the meta because she can flex the mid and bot now in this mage meta we find ourselves in.
And especially as we're just coming off MSI, where IU was absolutely throwing out that Cassiopeia and doing a fantastic job with it. What has gotten through draft, though, is the Camille that has been defining the early picks pretty much since MSI. And, of course, both these teams were just there. G2 had a interesting tournament, I think it's fair to say. They had some incredible highs and some slightly lower lows as well. Furia, of course, some good early games versus Furia, but couldn't quite clutch it out. Ended up with a fairly disappointing end of results. See what they can do here as they come on in. Caps gets a Syndra. Last time I saw him on this, he was getting a pentakill out of the MSI, and they'll lock in the Leona to go into the...
It's the lead of support. You need to be hard, fast, early, and aggressive. And when it's played right, it can overtake that lane, and then when they're roaming around, have so much impact. But as you so rightfully said, Caps, Penta, Syndra, it's almost an iconic situation already, and backed up with this CC that Leona brings to that bot lane. I love it.
Well, how about we go for the Lee Sin of jungle in Lee Sin? Pair that in with the Camille. Obviously, incredible early skirmishing here for Tatu and Jojo. We wanted to get some serious value out of that pair in the early stages.
But this is what we see with these BO1s, right? Some teams go all in. It's hard, fast, early aggression. Whereas other teams, they kind of hedge their bets, right? They go with the meta. They sometimes go with those comfort picks and depend on the scaling. The more comfortable, confident teams might go those slower builds, and the aggressive, we need to give it our all right here, right now. It's now or never. They go for those pumps.
Well, to go with your pick, I'll add you some pick. The Jin follows up with that Lee Sin and Camille. Also means the Camille is not freer to leave lane because Jin is very happy to play a 2v1 if required, and can obviously follow up / set up for these very aggressive early skirmishes pretty well. Tends to have that unfortunate mid-game trough that's kind of made him a little bit dubious in certain analysts' minds, but you do get to those late stages, still gets to pop off. What's the response here from the likes of Skumon, though? Might well be this Neferi.
I do love the backline access that Neferi can bring to any composition, right? Yes, you can body block it, but you basically sacrifice yourself unless you are a top lane tank into this Neferi, and those resets can be scary. So I love the lockdown. There's so much CC that G2 has already drafted for themselves into this Furia composition.
Second phase of bans coming on up. Neither top laner realistically picked it. Theoretically, Guigo could lock in that Camille, but it's not really been seen at all. Actually, it has been primarily a support pick, come what may. The Shen being taken out right now. That has been some of the BB has pulled out. The zombie build with things like the Dusk and Dawn, all those kind of shenanigans gets pretty obnoxious. And, you know, you look at G2's comp right now. Got a fair amount of burst themselves. That mid jungle hits level 6, and someone's losing their head.
That's it. And Syndra obviously scaling ultimate ability there as well, doing so much work and damage. It has to be respected. I mean, Caps is the best in the West, as they say. So Furia, are they going to respect this Syndra, or are they going to all in him and take him out of these fights quick, smart? But their composition, right, they've got a bit of dive. Camille, dive. Lee Sin can get around those back lines. But Jin wants to sit all the way at the back. So it's almost like you guys frontline while I try and deal the damage to this Syndra, to this Leona. But Leona, one of the tankiest supports you can find, she's going to be a tough nut to crack as these last bans have come through. Cleared. That's respect to BB.
Broken Blade came off a monstrous Game 5 win against T1 to knock them out of MSI with a 15-kill clip. It was magical. Of course, the series to follow, perhaps a little less magical for G2. We're looking to perhaps channel that initial victory here, and they're looking potentially for the Gnar here, having taken out the Vayne, having taken out the Rumble. Of course, on the other side, see what Guigo can look to lock into the Gnar.
One thing that I am loving about these jungler picks too as well is that they're both very aggressive, obviously, but they're not Xin Zhao. We've seen Xin Zhao a lot across the world. So these guys, they're not letting themselves be defined by the meta. They're definitely going with still strong picks, but things that they're a bit more comfortable with as well.
And at least at MSI, from what we saw, the Xin Zhao wasn't really a Game 1 pick anymore. It feels like enough of the nerfs have come on through that he's just fallen down that priority ladder a touch more for things like the Vi, for things like the Neferi, and actually debating doing what BLG just did and locking in a publicly perfect execution pairing.
Yeah, absolutely. Public and perfect execution. You said it
I hate this. Every time I conflate the two, it's a disaster as a play-by-play,
So
I tell
which
you.
one has which ult? Because we're going to need to know this. But Galio, I like this choice. Galio, a strong, locked in. Another frontliner,
Is that
though.
Syndra bot, then?
It could very well be, yeah, because Galio is mid lane, being able to global and help the team. I love this. They're going to play through sides.
And one of the big things here as well is there's been some questions about, does Hansama play the Mage's bot? He's locked in a Syndra here. He's clearly feeling confident enough to come in here at EWC. The first game, they're locking the Syndra. You've now got Neferi. Galio with a Leona to go diving on to some of these potentially more dangerous carries, or potentially responding to things like that Ambessa, things like that Camille coming diving on in. Because the other side, you look at Furia, and we were saying, hey, look, they had some close games against Lion, but it was the late game team fights where they couldn't quite get over that execution barrier. That doesn't look particularly late game to me with the Lee Sin of the Camille. They want to get rolling in that mid game real fast.
And Furia's composition is so high damage.
Yes.
That is damage for days. Whereas G2, they've kind of respected the traditional draft. They've got some solid frontline and sacrificed a bit of that damage. But this is Caps we're talking about on the Galio. He's going to be able to protect those damage dealers. So it's that trade-off. We're going to need to see how both of these teams play this one out, because they both have dive elements, but the shorter range of G2 means they're going to be much closer to that fighting than the Jhin from Furia. That could be the difference maker, that range differential.
And another potential caveat to this as well is I wonder whether G2 play this as a counterpunch. And they say, we see you all dive in, get Leona ulted, get Galio ulted, get Neferi W'd, and then we go back in. Because I think there is a very real world here where if Furia don't pull the trigger at the correct time, where they get a little over eager to make those plays, the punish that could come in from the global of the Galio, from the Neferi ulting in, from the Leona going, absolutely not, eat a solar flare. That could get really dangerous too.
These are going to be explosive all-in fights.
Yeah.
No matter which way you go with it, neither of these teams...
I feel like that might be a touch of an understatement, but you know, who am I?
Well,
who am I to
I
judge?
come from the LCP, right? So, like, if these guys get a kill a minute, I'm going to be like, yes, we're on.
boy.
But both of these compositions, they really want to fight. It's just how they're going to set up around these objectives, which will inevitably be the catalyst for these explosive engages.
Well, we've already had one very close game here on the B stream where MQuake actually stood up and delivered versus BLG very well, but the difference maker ended up being the dragon stacking that came on through, and that did sort of prove to be a little dangerous. And I agree, those objective setups are going to be a little intricate, I think, this game, because both of these comps don't really get to be non-committal, do they?
No.
And speaking of committing, we are committing to Summoner's Rift.
That's it. Once you go in for these fights, there's no way back out. You need to pull the trigger, you need to be decisive, and you need to make it work for you with these compositions, because, again, we are here on Summoner's Rift for game one of this best of one between Furia and G2 here at EWC 2026, and already they're showing face in the mid lane.
Oh, yes. And again, you win. You go towards an upper bracket best of three, which is great news. You lose, you're not quite done. But that lower bracket best of three is a little more alarming, to say the least. But fighting over these level 1 wards, Furia will clear that one out relatively swift. You can see that, of course, Jojo starting off there with the sweep. Of course, not to be confused with Jojo Pure. If we see those two teams fight off, we're going to have to be much more careful about our phrasing.
What I really, really like there is Hans Sama just chipped away at IU over the wall blind, right? And that speaks to the level of play these guys have. The seconds he was counting down in his head, he's like, you walk this fast, you will be here, I'm going to chip at you and get a little bit of a lane advantage, which is so important in these early stages as they start to skirmish on that bot side.
And again, there are going to be a lot of questions about G2 because we saw some real high highs from them at MSI. That victory against T1 will go down in European history. The series that followed against Lion was a real disappointment.
It will also go down in history.
Stop. Oh, yeah, and then that gets tricky because, again, on top of that, there's been the backroom staffs, Dylan and Perk switching up a little bit there as well. So it means that there's quite a lot of eyes on G2 to see what we get from them. And we've already got a little bit different look in that drafting phase with that Syndra and stuff coming on in, see where they feel like here. And again, for Furia, I got to chat with some of the CBLOL English casters. Shout out to Trajan and stuff as well, who was giving me some of their notes and their thoughts on what they thought about the MSI perspective from someone who's a big CBLOL fan. Put a lot of time into these teams, saying, look, frankly, really happy that they did a good job. They turned up and did them proud. But there was just this issue was like, maybe in years past, you could have said, look, the hands were there, but the game sense wasn't quite. This time, it was just really difficult to win games against the top teams. And there was a little bit of, like, frankly, just getting out-executing those late-game team fights. See what happens here. There was some violence occurring. I'm yapping away, and Labrov is being dropped real low. Furia looking to show exactly what hands they've got.
That's it. We saw Labrov there burn both summoners, but critically, Hans Sama stepped up and took the deadly flourish from IU, protecting Labrov, preventing that first blood going over. Because as we were talking, we saw on the top side here, Broken Blade had Guigo pushed in, and another skirmish in this mid lane. Caps has that. What's interesting here is that both of these are melee mid laners, right? So there's no ranged advantage over melee advantage. It's we're just going to be brawling the whole time. But critically, these junglers, right? Currently both on the top side. However, Skumond will be spotted recalling. So now Fury have the information that the jungler not out on the rift.
Here comes everyone. Hang on. This gets spicy. Tuts goes in with that Shuriken flick. 3v2 and Labrov being around. Does need to get out. Does Caps and survives. But that teleport comes with an additional summoner cost.
That's it. Both summoners burnt their 4 Caps. It was going to be a 3v1. It ended up being a 3v2. So it was much harder to get that coveted crown off of Caps. But the flash well spent to escape there. As this top side, they're skirmishing. They want to get these stacks up. Guigo critically. The grasp to get that permanent max health here. But the junglers, again, we see Skumond around that mid lane trying to potentially get the flash out of Tuts on this Akali because flash is so, so important.
And again, poor Fury, you are the team with the Lee Sin, with the Camille, with very, very volatile lanes, lots of setup, lots of playmaking. They are being active. It's what we wanted to see from a graph like this. And they're not playing slow. They're not playing conservative right now. They're trying to make the moves happen. Logan just pointing out the fact that Labrov was recalling on a warp. It doesn't look like we're going to see the interrupt as it stands. But thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate you, mate.
Of course, of course. I mean, we all have to help each other out here, but it will be seen. So that's information given over for free, which is not something you want to be doing. You don't want your opponents to know that they're up a man into your lane because that's when these plays can happen. That's when junglers, if they're on the right roam timers, can get those ganks down. As we see Guigo and Broken Blade, Jojo in the top side, already having roam from the bot, walking up, spotted on a ward.
We are. Can Jojo get on in here? Misses that hook shot, and BB just steps on it.
So chill with that one.
Casual.
Yeah, BB does not have 2 left feet. This man has a left and a right, and he's taken dance lessons. Well, it's baiting it out, right? If he can delay Jojo, if he makes Jojo want to stick around, he still has the flash. So he has the confidence to get out of a 2v1, but Jojo goes topside, wastes a little bit of time, recalls back out onto the rift.
And I was chatting with Jamada a little bit before, and he was doing some really great breakdowns on why we're seeing so much support roaming, because catch-up XP is incredibly busted from about 8 minutes on. So you can just spend the first 5 to 10 minutes roaming around and just rely on the 8-minute catch-up XP to get yourself back in. Allows people like Jojo to go looking for moves like that.
And speaking of looking, the Drake is up. So it will be which jungler wants to get there first. We do see that G2 has vision around that Drake pit though, so they will get that information if Furia decide to go for it. But the rate these two are scrapping.
BB might have to be a little bit careful here. He's about to go mini and misses his ult. Just clear the wave. Does Guigo want to look on this mini-nar timing for the public execution? There it is. Forces the flash. wondered whether we might be looking on that one, and Guigo does get a little bit extra.
I would say that ult for BB's flash, absolutely worth, because now without a flash, it's almost impossible to get those excellent angles on those ults, those team stuns.
And again, this is a composition from both teams that loves that level 6. The ult buttons are absolutely glorious for pretty much every champion in the game here.
Yeah, absolutely. Han Sama, though, doing well on this Syndra, maintaining that CS, just getting a little bit of poke on IU, which is why we're seeing both of these supports roam a bit. We've obviously seen Jojo roam a bit more than Labrov at the moment, but I think Labrov might be trying to play patient, protect Syndra while they're getting this up. Caps, though, making a play.
Does go looking. Scumon's around, has got that ability to call up the hounds if required. Tattoo and Jojo in, though! Hook, shot, and sinker.
That's it. Furia showed up. They brought more men. They got there quicker, and they take out Caps. Solid. First blood over to Furia. They'll net themselves that bounty gold as well off the first blood. So they find themselves 1,000 gold up over G2. However, the rest of the lanes, it's kind of normal at the moment. We've got most of these summoners down.
Hang on. Jojo went looking. Oh, that got spicy. The hook shot that time a little wide. Can't make it 2 for 2 there, but still got a little nervous. You can keep going now, Logan.
It was a great Zenith blade from Labrov. I'll give him that as well. Level 4, so had that level advantage. So a little bit tanky as we go into this replay. Caps is doing everything he can to get away. But look at Toots. He's got very little damage, so had to call in the reinforcements.
Whoa!
Oh!
Labrov's gone! IU picks it up. We come out of the replay into violence of Furia here. Find themselves 1,300 gold to the goods.
You could almost say violence and fury.
Very good. All right, yeah, very nice. All right, yeah.
Like furious fury.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
That's it. But another kill for Furia. They are firmly on the board, 2-0. But critically, that first streak of the game is still up. So this is going to be a slower game. We're not going to be rushing to 4 dragons and get that soul. The grubs are up as well, so in 5 seconds. So jungle objectives, not a high priority.
No, it's not really been about the objectives so far. I mean, part of it, of course, has been a lot of players wanting to get towards that level 6, towards those ultimate abilities. But as it stands, Fury with that Camille found themselves those 2 kills. They're the team with the Lee Sin to go with that important support. They're about to find Labrov again, who's in a potentially tricky spot. Gets the Eclipse down, hit by that deadly flourish. Hands coming on over, can look for a scout of the week as Scumon goes in. The Hounds pursuit the call of the pack, and they're calling up an ambulance. It's just not for them. They'll head towards the grubs.
Labrov goes in, and we're thinking, oh, Labrov, but he tanked it so beautifully.
Oh,
he
God.
gets hit. Oh.
Scumon gets another one of those R buttons, goes on to Guigo. In comes the heroes, entrance and Toots. Unfortunately, the villain in this equation, as the curtains are called, and unfortunately, no one's there to bow.
The heroic entrance from Caps, the hero of G2, able to help turn this fight around, give that protection that they need, the damage absorption, as G2 crowd goes crazy over these 2 kills.
It's not just them, though. You're hearing the counter chants from Furia. The crowds are in full voice today. It is echoing here in Paris. Towards the replay, though, because this got very close.
Yeah, Labrov here almost got caught out by the 2 members of Furia and does go down to half health early, but G2 is there to back it up. Scumon all ins to make sure they get that numbers advantage and scare Furia off the grubs. But Furia not done. They're down 4-5. They started again, but they overplay their hand. Caps arrives instantly and prevents any further deaths.
Oh, the hero turns up and is right there to save the day as ever. Really good stuff there. Gets G2 their own couple kills on the board and evens up that gold discrepancy that was going against them. Few hundred to the lead for Furia, but certainly nothing to write home about.
But something to write home about, Scumon has completed the first item of the game, has that Cyclo Sword on that Neferi, so very, very dangerous.
Slightly busted item.
Yep, but Tar2 answers in kind and has just picked up his Sundered Sky as well, so has that healing, has that sustain. Will be able to go toe-to-toe, but is down in CS significantly to Scumon at the moment. So these first items starting to roll through. We've got a couple of kills in the important places, though, ADs and jungles.
We do indeed. And again, well, AD is standing for awesome dudes again. We are back in 2018, hands on that syndrome. We'll keep our eyes on it. 48 stacks right now in terms of that Cinder passive, those Splinters of Wrath, which is a great name for an ability, by the by.
Love it, well said.
And it's 120 is the max stack. Of course, you get the Execute at 100, which is obviously a significant breakpoint into a comp that is very squishy. You get to a point where the Cinder has enough AP, the R button will be pretty lethal here, but ways off that being a genuine one-shot for now. Dragon still untaken 10 minutes into the game, which is fairly late for the meta we were seeing evolve at MSI just last week.
Yeah, literally days ago, everyone was going for these objectives immediately, but there is a little bit of a scuffle here for that vision control around the Drake, right? Both teams may not be going for it, but both teams want to know when the other one does because they don't want to give it over for free. Because it is such a late Drake, these teams are starting to become powerful. They're hitting those one-item spikes and will be able to fight over these convincingly. For now, though, it's about priority. As Tatu has started up this Drake, G2, though, responding.
And Tatu goes, maybe I don't. Maybe I get out of here. About to face check Lavrov there that will hit with a shield, which I feel is a little unfair. Lee Sin's just got some fists. Gonna get him at the Zenith blade as well. This gets a bit spicy. The kick away. Lavrov now put in a tricky position. It's tanky enough for now, but in comes Tux. Shuriken flip, stunned up, hook shot, not there. The shield to Durand and Skumon hops out. A couple summoners, but that'll be the end of it.
Lavrov tanked basically 3 there. He teased Furia. He's like, I'm going in because I know G2's here, but do you want to come into me? Baits them in and then just gets out with the flash. I had to commit it to survive there, otherwise would have gone over to Furia. I like the play. Could have been a little less over-committed. Oh, broken blade.
Good chunk there onto Guigo. Now back down into the hyper. Guigo probably going to need to look to reset here. Does have the teleport. Public execution goes wide. The hero arrives. Caps gets the taunt. And Ambessa goes dancing around, but that's a Drake out step into a 6-foot hole. An early grave for Guigo.
Well played by BB. I thought he was just going for the turret plates to get some gold, but he was baiting Guigo in, and the critical sidestep that changed that fight. If Guigo had been able to hit that, that would have been BB going down, and it would have been Caps alone under the tower in the face of Guigo. So important.
If that had gone another way, we might be having a different conversation as it stands, though. G2 now find themselves up 1,600 gold. They found themselves a lot of those role quest completions as well. Furia lagging behind a little in that, and the early moves that we were seeing with that Camille have just sort of fallen away a little bit. And I am looking at a composition here from Furia that wants this mid-game to be strong. You're there with your card. You're there with that very heavy jungle support. You are, however, very melee, very squishy, and very burst heavy. If you start having this happen to you, I get a touch nervous.
Nerves of steel these players have. Nervous is not a word in their vocabulary. It is confidence. It is all in as another fight brewing. Jojo kicks it off.
It is. There's a shield from Jojo with the adaptive defenses. Lavrov still only level 5. The level 6s are beginning to come on through as the catch-up experience begins to do a little work there. Jojo has got that one, as we noted. Back to the river we go. Herald 1.5 minutes away. So at this point, really what we're playing for is priority in the river, control in the river, and a replay to come on up to see exactly what happened on this top lane dive.
Yeah, so BB and Guigo were just trading as normal. BB trying to get this wave pushed in because he knows Caps is nearby. But back to live, we're fighting again.
Oh boy, I got caught drinking there for a second. My water comes on in as G2 murder the Camille, but it's traded back well enough. The TP's flying. Skumond in danger, flashes away. Guigo with the shield, the repudiates. Shut down. Jin finds himself a curtain call to remember.
Skumond did a really good job there of delaying, but it felt inevitable. Holding that 4th shot so long, IU was, that it just wasn't good enough for Skumond. They had vision control on him. G2 tried to respond, but they just weren't quick enough. So this is a really good contest. We're 4 apiece. Furia has completed all their role quests, 1,000 gold diff in favor of G2, so they've been able to claw it back from Furia. But if you take a look at that vision control, G2 are the ones in control because they want this topside objective. They're preparing for that Rift Herald in 20 seconds, and there is another Drake up. It will be the second of the game, though. So again, really, really slow on these Drakes. I can't see this being the win condition for either team. I have to imagine it's going to be a Baron and a Force.
See how that one works again. It will be a very late Dragon in general. First one went the way of G2 alongside those scrubs. And again, you're the team with the Gnar, with that ability to come collapsing with that global. So theoretically, a win condition there, especially if BB goes something like that Trinity Force Black Cleaver build rather than something like the Sterax to really get some value out of the grub. Skumon currently soloing out the Heralds. Are we going to see a contest? We might well do, though Furia a little late over here, but they're considering it for sure. Guigo now here, ults all rolling, flashes a little bit more scarce, and that will probably mean that G2 picked that one up. Ends up being a little bit of Safari League of Legends for Fury. Go, wow, wow, there's the wildlife, and back away.
I do want to point out...
Oh, hang on. That was nearly an interrupt. Jojo went looking on the ward recall interrupts. Didn't quite find it though.
Yeah, but I do want to point out, even though Furia lost the Rift Herald, the value of their vision control in that area. They knew G2 was starting up. They knew how many members and which members of G2. So they were like, you know what? We can't contest this. We're going to let them have it. And that's a smart play. So they got cross-map. They started feeding gold into their other players in other lanes and gave that Rift Herald over. They said, that's a fight we'll worry about a little bit later. Because if you look at it, no turrets have gone down yet. They're all pretty healthy. Even the mid lane for G2 is still on the maximum amount of turrets it can be. So Furia, they're not getting onto these turrets. They need to start.
I mean, you've got a Jhin and double mellows in your solo lanes. Hell, even your jungle and support are melees. Your ability to get to those turrets is somewhat limited here. Unless you manage to get the fight that gives you just numbers advantage to walk at turrets.
Things coming down around this Drake. They're going to contest for this one. Lebrov just getting that vision down.
Okay. Damage is there. The Hextech ultimatum. The Solar Flare into a load of ults. Oh my days, the Syndra just presses hard. It got caps with the TP, the shield, the Durand. Locks them all in face. Power is unleashed. And G2 find themselves a couple to the goods.
Lebrov is starting these fights and he's taking so much damage, but it buys G2 the time to collapse and take Fury to the cleaners. It was a clean fight from G2 there, taking 2 of Furia and buying themselves a priority to get that second Drake of the game, and their stacking is on and they're 2k up.
And Labrov's now just picked up a Protoplasm Harness as well. The ability to pick a Leona through the Eclipse, through the Aftershock. Eclipse the ability, not the item, just to clarify. They are two things. League of Legends and words that are used in multiple places.
We know what we're talking about.
Exactly. Just to clarify, guys. The big shield that Leona puts up, alongside the Protoplasm Harness, killing this Leona off first, I think might be an exercise in madness.
And almost an exercise in futility as well. Lebrov, yes, 0, 2, and 5, but Lebrov has lived more than he's died in these fights. As we go back to this Drake fight as it starts out here, Hans Sama is in that mid lane and rotates down through the top side, but Jojo starts it on Lebrov. Lebrov eats 2, 3. Of the shots of IU, where is Jin's damage going? Not into who matters. And that buys the time for G2 to collapse and take Fury out.
And as usual in this game, we come out of the replay into more action. 6-4 in the kills, but it feels like there's definitely been a bit of a fracas at any given moment. Touch now coming up towards this top lane, where of course Caps has managed to get that level advantage. A couple of kills to the good here. He's got the Hollow Radiance. There's another stun into the wall and a nasty chunk onto Guigo there, who may need to start backing away as the Hyper Procs begin to mount. That boomerang just a touch short there. Turret number 1 falls for G2, and that gold lead begins to balloon to a notable margin.
Yeah, the first turret going down at 1836 is fairly slow by today's standards, but I just want to point out as well, Lebrov is a level up and a completed item up as well over Jojo.
He is, and he's in a really good spot there. Got a little nervous with Skumon hanging around at that blue buff, just hopping over with the Eviscerate, but just some trading. I think team more manageable. Broken Blade hasn't left. The public execution is a very public whiff, and Broken Blade breaks the ankles of Guigo.
He's doing it all game long. It's almost impossible for Guigo to hit an ult on the BB. This man is a natural-born ballerina. The moves he has, the slides he has got. This is the MSI Broken Blade, and he is here to win it.
A ballerina, you say? Well, that suddenly gives a new meaning to on point, doesn't it? What a player when given the opportunity. A player that at points has been criticized that may be a little too streaky, maybe not good enough for international. Well, how did he do at MSI? How is he doing here? The upper end of this player is really just very special, isn't it? Fury, of course, not out of it here. You're still looking at the Jhin, who we can pick up a few more items, will still be very scary. The problem is, with all of these grubs and Guigo struggling in the 1v1, these tier 2s are beginning to fall, and the structure goal is just strong. Oh, we even get the T-Tours. Thank you, Observer, for the Christopher Nolan Cup.
This is the addition that I do want to see, my friend, as we see Jojo deep in enemy territory, trying to get sort of some vision control down just to know what G2 is doing. Tatu clearing his camps out. The Baron is now up at the 20-minute mark, and the third Drake of the game, another 2 minutes for the Rift Herald.
Charge. Lands, and it's gone. And now suddenly all those outer turrets are gone, and the gold really has gotten to a difficult position. 5,000 gold is more than a little alarming for the Furia fans out there, I have no doubt. I'm going to try and play back as well when the vision's beginning to fall. Are you with a Captain Jack gets on out of there? You remember the day you almost got the Furia AD carry.
That's right. Han Sama 2-0, Caps 2-1, Skumon 2-1. Broken Blade has not died. But Furia, they're not without their answers. If Tatu can find an angle, if they can protect IU and get that damage onto the right targets, Furia are still very much in this. They can compete with G2 here. However, G2, they have the aggression, they have the priority.
Lavrov went looking there, but over the wall went Tatu. Now the curtains get caught. Hansama getting tied by some of those bullets, but Lavrov still about alive. Tatu gets taken by the bleed. The dark-in daggers. A little too poisonous. Tuts potentially in danger of the shield of Duran. Just about able to escape there on the Akali.
How does Lavrov keep living? He tanks so many shots, he takes so much damage, and it prevents it from going on to Han Sama. He protects the AP carry of G2 so well. This bot lane, they are synergized, and with the priority off of that fight, they're able to turn it into that Baron because there's no jungler alive for Furia. They cannot smite this. They have to give this one over. They don't even have vision. G2, free Baron.
It's going to be a relatively slow Baron as there is no AD carry in a Syndra as your damage deal. Of course, Skumond on the Nefiri, perhaps a little bit more able to offer that Baron DPS, and it will go down easy as you like. They'll pick that one up. Jojo goes looking for Lavrov, but we've seen this one before, guys. Are we sure? Eclipse into Aftershock. And he only loses a third of his HP bar. He's still got a protoplasm harness to work with.
LeBron's like, I ain't recalling up for that. You need to do better because I am still ready to go. Caps has been everywhere. And we look at this, right? 8 kills over to G2. Skumon, he's been involved in 6 of them.
Caps has got to be a little careful here, actually. Gets hit by the public execution. Hero's entrance away, though. And he'll be right as rain.
He knew it. He played that one fantastically. The moment the knock-up was used, he's like, up, I'm out of here. Hero's exit, if you will. Is it very heroic if you're leaving the fight?
I feel like Heroes learning to run away is an important part of the medium.
Strategic, what is it? Strategic return, something like that. Yeah,
strategic retreat, that's the one.
As we do see Skumon is on the third Drake of the game. Again, we call it, it's slow Drakes, but this will get their stacking. It is an Infernal, and it will be an Infernal Soul, which means extra poke damage.
And what we did see from the likes of BLG at first, and is you can give up some of those dragons if you can kind of do this. Play elsewhere, play for the structures, and maybe, just maybe, a kill or two.
Nasty with it. Lavrov kicked that off with a Zenith Blade into the Q, into the Solar Flare, and nothing Jojo could do. But I was saying before, 9 kills. Lavrov has been a part of 7 of them. Lavrov is everywhere in this game, and he's just surviving. He hasn't died in over 10 minutes.
And again, another one of those players who got a little criticized or questions about him joining G2. He's been having a great old time over the last tournament or so, and continues his MSI form with pretty